theme.
Man, did you hear there's like lots of reports that game is underperforming? Which, I mean, it's a Square Enix game, so I don't know. That maybe means it's sold 200 million units or something.
Oh, Rebirth? Well, yeah, to them, who knows what their standard is right now. That's a bummer. I don't like that. Well, I mean, it's only on one platform. They always complain when the single platform they launch on doesn't do as much volume as they would if they put it on everything. I don't understand.
I don't understand it. There's not a ton of PlayStation 5s. No games that come out just on PlayStation.
Video spinning there, so it's time, everybody. And here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
War never changes.
War never changes. War never changes.
War never changes.
War never changes. War never changes.
War never changes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Core, the only video game that plumps when you cook it. I'm Scott Johnson. Bo Schwartz is here. John Jagger is here. We're here to talk about war and how war never changes. War. There will be some. There will be some Fallout discussion, but not. I promise it's not the whole show. But there's some things to say about the Fallout TV show, its effect on the games and their sales right now. And desires for new games, and they're having a little bit of a moment over there. So good thing that show turned out to be really good, or else we'd probably be having a very different moment right now with Fallout.
I mean, we probably wouldn't be talking about it.
Probably not. Yeah, we would. Yeah,
we'd all go, we kind of hoped it would be good, but I guess it didn't turn out good. But last week, I had seen one episode. You had seen 1.25 episodes.
Yeah.
And I think as of this week, I've finished it. Did you finish it?
I did. I finished it Saturday. Did all 8 episodes. Spread them out over about 4 days or whatever. I didn't want to do them all in one night. Partly because I didn't want to be done because I liked it that much. I was having so much freaking fun watching the show that I would be like, I could do another one tonight, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna save it so that I can have this just a little longer in my life, and I'd see a preview of the next week, and I'd go, or the next episode, and go, "Whoa, look at Walton Goggins! Look what he's doing." I guess I'll have to wait for that. And I was trying to, I had to have some self-control, and I did. And at the end of it all, I thought it was amazing. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think anybody who's never played the games will also like it. If you like genre television or film, you'll like it on its own merits. For people who've played the game, you'll be happy.
I'll tell you, on the perspective of people who have not played the game or don't know anything about it, for those who hear the pre-show where we, for a time, talked about movies, it is frequently discussed that my wife cannot handle gore.
Yeah.
She just hates gore in anything. And the Fallout show is exceptionally gory.
Yeah.
She would not let me watch this without her.
Yeah.
She absolutely loved this show. Now, there were times where she could not watch. She would look away and bury her head somewhere. But she loved it. And anytime it was even suggested that I might watch it without, she's like, "Are you going to watch Fallout?
Yeah.
We can watch it together. Come on, let's watch it." And so she was all in on it. And she said she even went and looked up spoilers in the hopes that she wouldn't have to watch the show anymore.
Yeah.
Just to get it out of her system so she wouldn't have to watch the gory show. And it only made her more interested to keep watching. So it's a hell of a thing.
It's a hell of a thing. Let me ask you a question though. When the gore and the violence would happen in that show, what I noticed was it was very sudden and very visceral and then over with. Like it wasn't a kind of like long, agonizing kind of violent nature or gore to the show. It was just when it happened, boy, howdy did it happen. And then when it didn't, it didn't. And that's compared to things like, I don't know, Walking Dead or even like The Boys or Gen V. Those things are just constantly gory, right? Like every minute they can figure out a way to either have a penis or blood. They'll do both or either or the two combined. This thing was like, well, yeah, there's a standoff, so yeah, we're gonna have some gnarly blood here, and then we're gonna have a stretch where there's none of that. and it's just exposition and story and humor and other stuff. Did that help in her case where she's sort of doesn't want that? But you know, it wasn't so consistent that's all the show was.
No,
to her.
it didn't help. No.
Okay.
Like there's a head that is predominantly just being toted around and put in food and stuff. Like it didn't help.
Yeah.
But I think that what helped was the performances were good, the story was intriguing, the world was interesting. It is one of the funnier shows that I've seen in a while, but not bad funny. Like it somehow nailed the exact kind of humor you want from that world and that wasteland. You know, like some of the jokes were just like eye rolling, but in a endearing and still felt genuine. It never really broke me out of the show whenever it got funny.
Yeah. It understood
and,
why, like in the game, for example, you listen to these different radio stations. Some are just discordant old show tunes from the 40s. And the show has tons of this too, by the way. But like these old, I don't want to watch the world set on fire, whatever that song is. Yeah. I'm not going to do any more music. But but these like old timey tunes and stuff are with such a part, an integral part of the modern games, meaning Bethesda and Forward pretty much. And there's a little bit of that in the old 1 and 2 and Tactics and stuff. But the game is very good at having like other stations where they have dramas going on, and they're all very vault-centric dramas and over the top and ridiculous, but somehow it doesn't feel forced or you know, grandpa joke funny. It's actually funny, and part of the reason it's funny is because it's such a contrast to this freaking nasty world you're living in, and the show gets that. The show understands that part of this, and it gets the tone right, the look right, the feeling of all of that stuff, in my opinion, 100% correct, but tells us a story that is not a story we already know from the games. There are parts of the world that are affected by the game story, but for the most part, these are characters and their arcs are not in the game. So we're getting a fresh story, which is all I ever really wanted. I don't want them to just try to tell Fallout 3 or tell New Vegas or whatever. I want new people doing new stuff in the place that I already like, the world I already am happy that is built. And they did that, and they did it definitely.
Real quick, I think that's one of the most impressive things about this show. I primarily got into Fallout and Fallout 3. Yeah. I played Fallout Tactics first. That was the first Fallout game I ever played. But mostly my introduction was 3. And that's kind of where I resided getting into it. I assumed when they announced it that this would be a retelling of Fallout 1 or 2 or a reimagining, just a story from that world. The fact that they decided with this show to essentially just make it a TV show element of a new Fallout chapter, it's in continuity. Mm-hmm. And I think that's such a cool idea to, instead of trying to recreate a video game narrative, but instead to say, no, all that video game stuff happened. This is just another chapter in all of that. Right. And it's its own story, but it's in continuity. So if you're a fan of those games, this is just the next chapter in that game series. I think that's awesome. Yep. I think that is such a cool idea. And I was so happy to see that that's the direction they went with it. Yep. It makes you even more excited about the property, because while I also thought The Last of Us was really good, that's just a retelling of The Last of Us story, right? Like, and it gets into changes here and there and more detail in this area, less detail in this area. But it was just a retelling of that story, and that's kind of what you want it to be. But this was its own thing. And I think when we talk about, because we're going to talk about it, how this made everybody want to go play Fallout again. Part of the reason it did that is because this is part of that universe, and it just makes you want to go, oh, I just want to go play in this sandbox, which they're sandbox games, so great. I want to go play in this world. I want to go play in this sandbox, and I want to see more of this universe and more of this story that this all ties into.
Mm-hmm. Even stuff you played before. Well, obviously, because we don't have a new Fallout game right now, other than people who skip 76. We'll get into that later. But, Bo, have you had a chance to watch this at all yet?
I did watch the first episode.
Yeah, what was your hot take after consuming it?
I don't know. I don't want to rain on everyone's parade.
Oh no!
It was fine. That's fine.
We
Bo
got another
continues.
one. We got another one. All right.
It was fine. It was fine.
You need to do the whole thing and then come back. I think
it's a little too early to judge, but I will tell you, all the Fallout games, I play the first few hours,
yeah,
and get bored and stop playing, and so
yeah.
I had the same feeling watching. I had the same feeling watching the show, where I'm like, all right.
You gotta. So when you get into the more meaty points of the story arc for Walton Goggins' character, to me, for you, this is when it will shine. I think he shines for everybody, but I think it will take you.
Yeah,
I think that will take you up a
episode.
notch. Yeah, he's hardly in it. It's important the party's in it, but later on, you are going to get some of the most amazing stuff out of him he's ever done, in my opinion. I absolutely loved his character, top to bottom. If I had my way, they would, when they're done with this arc and however many seasons they do, I would watch a whole thing that starts from the beginning and his entire, where he goes, how he does it, and what he does. Without getting into spoilers, it's a long time. And I loved him in this. And I already liked Walton Goggins, already a big fan. It didn't hurt that occasionally a justified side character would show up and die pretty quickly. That made me laugh. That was at least two of them that I can think of. Limehouse. This isn't not spoilers, but Limehouse and
Limehouse is the first episode, right at the end, right?
Yeah.
He digs him out of the grave and
falls into the thing.
So he doesn't come back.
No, I don't see why. I mean, I never see Limehouse again, so I don't know if there's a point.
I wasn't sure if he was dead. I know he got thrown back into a hole, but I didn't.
And then later on, you get another one. I won't tell you when or who. It's a fun surprise. But the whole thing with him is so good, and it glues everything together by design. That's the way the story's supposed to work.
Is the whole series pretty absurdist?
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah,
there's lots of moments like that where. In that first episode, this is, you saw the whole thing where the vault gets visitors and all that stuff, and it's pretty over-the-top absurd about what they're doing and how they're living their lives. But it works so well in that world that it feels like just Fallout to me. And it immediately drove me to go reinstall 4, and immediately see how well all this shit ran on my Steam Deck, because I was like, well, I know what I'm doing in bed tonight. I installed Fallout 76. Everybody says, oh, that game's in an amazing place. Nobody knows. You should check it out, blah, blah, blah. I did that. I'll talk more about that soon. I even reinstalled New Vegas again and started looking around for mods to make it not look like 2010 ass. I didn't fire up 3, and they were a bunch of them went on sale right after the show. Next week there's a big patch for 4 on consoles and PC. It'll mostly affect consoles though. It's a big performance boost. Up till now, 30 frames I think on consoles. It'll be 60 plus for those people plus. Other stuff. I'm not even sure all what's coming.
Ultra wide support was a big one. I tried to play for not too long back when I was in my ultra wide phase.
Yeah.
And it would not run. And if you went and tried to look for support for it, it was like, nope. Yep. You're not going to get to play this game.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, great. I don't like 4 anyway.
Yeah.
But the reason I didn't
4 is good. You are wrong about 4. 4 is good.
4 is we'll get into it with what you played.
Oh, jeez.
We'll start a long-standing tradition now of Scott's going to talk about something excitedly, and now John, not Bo, is going to immediately tell you why 4 is an abysmal entry in the Fallout series.
That is just so not the case.
It's terrible.
It's not terrible.
Absolutely terrible.
It's not terrible. It's as good. It won a bunch of Game of the Year awards for a reason. That game is good. Is it as good as the story, for example, that's in New Vegas? No, it's not. Mechanically, is it better? Yes. Is the story fine? Yeah. I like it better than 3. I can tell you that.
No.
Oh yeah.
3 stories better than 4.
Lot better than 3, in my opinion. Well, anyway, we'll get to it. The point is,
we'll get to it.
Fallout is a bona fide success. It got renewed for a second season today. Like while we were doing the show, or sometime before it got announced.
They posted it. I'm so excited. I can't wait. That's gonna be the hardest thing is waiting for it because it ended, and all I wanted to do was watch more of it.
And where it ended, dude, I about shit myself.
I was gonna say, and Scott, it feels tailor-made ended for what you would be into.
I saw that and I went, hold on. And I had to go back. I went back 10 seconds and paused it. I'm looking real close. And Kim's out of town. She really wanted to see this, but she's been in Anaheim all week, and I couldn't wait. I just had to watch it. So she's going to binge it this weekend. She really wants to see it, so she'll watch it this weekend. But I would have been so annoying in a watch through of this, because I would have been the Leonardo DiCaprio on the couch, was pointing every 5 seconds and sitting up and pointing at my screen like that meme you always see. Because every time something I got as a reference, everything from when people would say war never changes and expect me not to notice, or a certain brand name of certain things. I'd see a box of Sugar Bomb somewhere.
Cram.
Yeah, cram, which is basically spam. The fact that this, I don't want to give that one away. You know what? People watch it. I promised no spoilers today, and we'll do that. But there are a lot of things that happen in the game that happen here that to people who have not played the games, they're not even going to notice. They'll just go, oh, that's the thing they did. That's cool. I'm glad they did that. But in particular, the way this ends and the thing you see right before we cut the credits, I had to check my underwear, dude. I had to check my pants.
I saw it and I was like, well, Scott somewhere is very happy.
I was so stoked.
Scott is the happiest person that ever lived.
I was so stoked, and it was so carefully crafted to be the thing that it is. I was so excited. And there's been some consternation with some fans about this, because some think that what we saw there contradicts the timeline the show presents. And Todd Howard got out and said he basically patched the television show, kind of. He came out. He's an executive producer on the series, working with Nolan and all those other guys. And he said, the show is canonical, and it is also canonical with the thing you see at the end.
Yeah.
And there's just a difference in when people think a certain event happened, and that's all.
Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather be in a world where people argue over how well something fits into the lore than, oh man, they completely ignored the lore,
Yeah.
And so, there were a lot of people that thought, a big conspiracy theory for a time was that the game Fallout New Vegas was going to be rendered non-canon, because it was something that Obsidian made, not Bethesda proper.
Right.
So there were a lot of people going, oh, they're going to write off the game that they didn't make. But I'm going to tell you right now, before I even investigated what all the commotion was about, I knew this was bullshit. Because watching that show, you can tell the people who made that show really like Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah.
They really like Fallout New Vegas a lot, and there was no way they were going to remove the storyline of Fallout New Vegas with how much reverence they seem to have for it. From like the look of gear to just some aesthetic choices, the things that get talked about, like it was just obvious that they liked it.
Yeah.
And then, so it is good that they got out there and put fans' concerns at ease and said, no, it's going to be canon. But I mean, to me, there was no doubt. Like, these were definitely people that liked New Vegas.
Yeah, and Fallout in general. There's an interview with Jonathan Nolan and his wife, Lisa Joy. And yes, he's the brother of Christopher Nolan. He's one of those Nolans. Last thing he worked on was Westworld. It got cut short. HBO canceled it before they were finished. Say what you want about that show. It had its problems, but I liked where they were going. And they said in an interview recently that he and Lisa were big Fallout players, and they were playing through 4 at the time they were working on Westworld, and got all kinds of inspiration from that game in part of what they worked on with that. And they just thought, man, one day wouldn't it be cool if we got to make something around this world? And they got it. And that's amazing. And I think you can feel, that's the thing. John's right about it. You can feel that people like this shit. It isn't just they made a thing that sort of looks like, well, this is Halo, but Master Chief, we got to humanize him. He's got to take that helmet off. Like, nobody's talking like that or thinking like that on this one. This one, they're like, no, all that absurd shit, all that weird stuff the game does, all the things about that world that is weird and contradictory, and Fallout Boy and always doing the thumbs up on everything and being contrasted with the
boy.
I mean, it's amazing, right? Like they know, you can tell they know this, and they know it deeply, and are willing to do whatever it took to get there, and they did it.
Yeah. I mean, they got stim packs. Like, people get hurt and they immediately like, I need a healing item.
Yeah, they pull out a stim pack,
like,
and
it's It's one of the most video game accurate adaptations I think I've ever seen, and it does it in just a way that for me was just pure joy. Like, you know, so often when we talk about how would you adapt a video game to, you know, movies or TV, like the answers that we either get or that we think about is, okay, but how do they work this so it isn't video gamey, because it can't be. But this show was like, no, it can, and it's going to be. Like, it's going to be video gamey as hell, and who cares? You like the video game, you'll like the TV show. Like, there it is. And I just enjoyed the way that it reveled in the absurdity of the video game. And again, it found the right balance with the humor. Like, even when it got really dumb, like, it was still dumb in a fun way. Like the little robot, I don't want to say too much about it, but there's a little robot at the end, like a quasi-robot, I guess.
Oh,
they established very early that he doesn't work very well because he gets stuck on a broom handle.
Yep.
But then, like, he's trying to be threatening, and it's the most absurd threats I've ever seen in my life. And it just cracked me up, and it was in such a serious, like, section of the story too, but it just matched that tone where it's like, yeah, sometimes it can be a terrible wasteland of shocking reveals and heartbreak and death, and then sometimes a stupid little robot can be chasing you very slowly through a hallway.
Yeah, and like, it does it. That stuff is borderline stupid, but they get it right. I can't explain it. And also Norman, the character who's there during the part you're talking about, Norm.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about that guy before this. He's in the other stuff. Mostly, I think some Nickelodeon stuff. He's Kid Actors where he started. Oh, I think he's Nacho Libre's little helper guy. Can't think of his name in Nacho Libre.
Oh, really?
Anyway, I think so. Anyway, he's really good, and so is Chet. Even though Chet is a joke. But Chet is good. Like, everybody's good.
I loved Chet.
Gosh, dude.
I feel so bad for Chet. I just want to know that things are going to work out okay for him.
I worry about Chet, even though early on you get some weird shit about Chet, and also Lucy for that matter. Also, she's British, and I don't want to freak anybody out, but that actress does a better American accent than I talk normally. I watched her on Fallon or something yesterday. She is so British. I don't know how she freaking does it. Also, her eyes are 400,000 times bigger than anyone else's eyes. She's really good in this role. Bo, I want you to love it, dude. I want you to keep going. Dig into episode 2. Keep pushing through. Push through like you never did with a Fallout game. Push through. Okay?
I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's good.
Oh, there's a moment where Walton Goggins wants to give a guy a cherry tomato, but won't because he got a hole in his neck. And that's all I'll say about that scene. It's so good. I can't stop thinking about it. All right.
I just absolutely, like, Walton Goggins in general is just, anything he is in, even stuff I don't like, I'm like, well, at least he was
in it.
Enjoy for a little bit.
Yeah. And even when you hate him, like what was the one where he was... Oh, Django. He was the one that had Django turned upside down and was whacking him in the nuts. And you're just like, I hate your character, but you're Walton Goggins, so I'm all in, right? There's something there.
I'm happy you're here.
No, he's very good, and like it wouldn't shock me to like the rest because he's only in the first one for like all of 5 minutes, right?
He's in the intro and then like the very, very last bit of the episode.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. I think it's just a personal preference thing. I'm not big on the 60s alternate history stuff. Like that whole vibe. Like I don't really like BioShock that much for the same reason. It's just not for me. But he might be great later. It might be worth the price to watch. I haven't picked up you're like, oh man, I got to watch another episode because you're so excited to watch it. I don't feel that. I'm like, well, it's there when I want to get to it. That's just my feeling. But
it's totally fine.
I may watch the second one and go, shit, I got to keep going, so.
You get a lot more.
I don't want to say too much because it's just an episode. TV shows can sometimes take a little while to get going.
You know who else is in this show that I did not realize was in this show? And then I found it out and I went, why wasn't this advertised? Because I would watch any show with him in it. Yeah. Matt Berry is in
he is. And you know what? Somehow he puts in one of his most dramatic, heartfelt performances also very comedic in other ways and other parts.
Well, what is he like? Is he like, there were nuclear bombs that were set off here?
I'm here to salvage your organs. That's in the freaking trailer.
That's in the trailer, yeah.
But he's so this. You know what I mean, though. The scene where the other scene, all right, which without giving any spoilers, Matt Berry gives a heartfelt, interesting, deeper thing than he usually even gives me. That's what this show does really well. It straddles this like absurd and serious in a way that I totally buy. That's hard, I think.
Actually, if I could say one thing about, I don't know if it's a cameo or if he's a main character, but the one actor appearance that I was pleasantly surprised by was the CEO of Evil Corp, which I don't remember his name for Mr. Robot. I guess he's the leader of the Steel Brotherhood or something like that.
Yeah, the older guy.
I can't remember. I don't know the actor's name, although he's been acting
he's
forever
great
too as a character actor. But he's iconic in Mr. Robot. By the way, watch the 5th season, please.
Yeah, he's not in this a ton. He's in that first episode a bit. He shows up later too, but he's very good. That's the thing, is no one's really wasted. There's nobody in this, small or big. There's lots of cameos from people you recognize. And you'll go, oh my gosh,
like
what's
the
that
radio
guy
station
like
attendant.
the radio guy. And he sounds just like the Fallout 4 guy. I'm sure that's what they modeled it after, because the 4 guy's always like, okay, so that was a track from the Pointer Sisters, or whoever it is. I can't remember the sisters are always playing. And now we'll hear from our sponsors over at Dirty Meat Construction Company. Yes, that's right. Like that whole vibe. He nails that. He's almost like, I can't even, I don't even want, I loved it so much, you guys. I shit myself. I mean, this is all in the genre space that I just suck into anyway. So I was marked for this, but.
And I just one more thing I want to give them credit for. They exercised a lot of restraint, because if you said make a checklist of things that should be in a Fallout TV show, they maybe only hit about half.
Yeah.
And I don't want, it's kind of a spoiler to say what's not in there just as much as it is to say what is in there. But like, there are a lot of things that I consider like tried and true tropes that you encounter in Fallout that are not in this, that they are clearly able to save and go into another season. In fact, one is directly teased. You see a skull right at the end of the show. And I feel like that was to me, that was an acknowledgement. To me, that was them going, I know you want to see it.
Yeah,
but we're not doing it yet. It'll be there next time.
Yeah. No, they definitely showed restraint in a lot of ways, but then also in some ways they did not hold back. Like, there's parts of this where I'm just like, holy shit, did you nail, like, even the interiors of the vaults? You may as well boot up Fallout 3 for the first time and see those. That's what they look like. Yeah. Like, they were so meticulous with that stuff, and they made it work. That character Thaddeus, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff to like. And that guy from Zach Cherry from Severance on Apple TV Plus, beard guy, kind of a bigger dude. He's in the vault. He's one of the council.
Oh yeah.
He's a great, I love that guy. Him and freaking Leslie Uggams, who's been working in the industry for like 60 years or something, is in there. I don't know, man. You got to push through, Bo. I want to share this with people.
So funny. Like, again, it's that genuine earnestness of that idyllic life, but the guy taking down his posters to run for overseer, and he's just says to him, well, you did everything you could. And he's like, yeah, I put up like 10 posters. And he's like, sometimes you just got to put up posters and let democracy do its thing. It's like this guy's devastated he lost because he put up 10 posters and it didn't work.
And that guy, the Davy guy, kept having to remind him that he didn't vote for him. And and it's such a dumb joke, but oh my gosh, it worked. It worked so good. All right. I love that. I refuse to end my career in podcasting until Bo has watched it, and I get I want the whole thing. I need the whole thing. I need all my friends to like it. And if you don't, I'll accept it. I will. But I want you to like it so bad.
I mean, I'm trying to like, if you can't tell, I'm really trying hard to manage pulling too much aggro. Because I don't like the Transformers thing. And, we're going to talk about another game that might pull some aggro.
Yeah.
So I'm happy people have something they like, and it sounds like it's really great.
Well,
and
it is.
maybe I will watch the rest next week, and you never know. I'm not gonna. I don't have anything bad to say. I just wasn't.
Yeah,
it's fine.
And congrats to Ella Purnell.
Well, maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. Congrats
Maybe
to Ella Purnell, who plays Lucy. She is also Jinx in the.
I will talk about the one thing. It got hung up on it, maybe, and that's a negative thing. Is they let the Raiders in?
Well, they
get married.
They didn't know that though. So you don't know about
they were full of tattoos.
Yeah, but they didn't.
They're
they
also
don't.
dumb.
They're also dumb and they're naive.
They're really dumb.
Yeah, but I was like, I mean, they're
no. You got to keep going. You got to keep going because that will make sense.
How can they be that dumb? Like, isn't there a negotiation I was just like, I was pulled.
You will learn why they're dumb, and you'll also learn why, because it's like this 3 vault system there. You learn that very early. It's like 33, 32, 31. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
But after they found out and they're fighting, all of a sudden they're good with guns. That one woman's got a fork in her head, shooting everybody and stuff. Like,
well, yeah, they train with guns. As you said, they're American.
Yeah, but
like
then,
they even
let Raiders
established
in.
that Lucy is not. Good with
they didn't
guns.
try that hard with the script. Sorry.
Well, you're only one in. It's a show of 8 episodes.
Yeah, well, I just want. It's one of these things. You are hung up on a detail that is easily explained, and it is explained. And it seems silly to be hung up.
It also
on.
that stuff
heal me, please.
That stuff susses out over time as well. It's important to kind of see the naivete of the vaults and vaulters in certain vaults. That's the other thing, is not every vault is equal. It's a really important contrast actually in the show when you run into other vaulters. Like, keep going. You'll see why that matters, or why that's a big deal.
Just keep in mind, if I keep going and it's not good,
you'll tell us, and it's fine.
I might pull a ton of aggro.
Like Scott said, he just wants all his friends to like it. So you will either like it or you will no longer be his friend.
No, you'll always be my friend. Tell death.
I just want to let people like things, so that's why it's better if I'm.
And it's totally fine.
You'll have a horse in this race.
You'll be my friend till forever. It's just. I don't know. I want you to find the same joy in this, and maybe we'll find something else where you get that same joy. Which will be great.
We do need to find something that Bo finds joy in. I guess we did.
I found joy
in Discovery.
I found joy in Word on the Street with Scott and Greg, but no Greg and Holinka. Yeah. I actually really enjoyed watching that yesterday.
Yeah,
it's not like I don't like things, guys. Go listen to Holinka. He's awesome.
He's great.
The only problem with that show is only an hour long, and it feels like Holinka has a lot of opinions about things. I'd be happy to hear a ton more.
Yeah.
And that's no shade on Greg or anyone else that appears in the show. But Holinka's got a long history of game design, especially on WoW, and you know.
He'll be back.
You guys were like, you kept like changing topics, which is not a bad thing, not a criticism, but like you're trying to cover ground. But I'm like, no, I want to hear more about what he thinks about Baldur's Gate, because he makes the damn games, right? Like, we just play him.
Yeah, he'll be back.
But he makes the damn things. So anyways,
I promise he'll be back, because he's just too good at that. And
that was my favorite thing.
Yeah, it was great.
To listen to.
Super fun to talk to him, and it's been ages since we've been able to do it, since he was at Blizzard, so it felt really good.
You like things, chat room. Stop.
He likes lots of stuff. It's fine.
I like Holinka. There you go.
There you go. He likes Holinka.
He just likes people.
Let's talk about games we played, and it turns out, I don't want to shock anybody, but I played a lot of Fallout. So the show, it's funny because up till the point of the show, I was playing nothing this last week but Final Fantasy 14. I played a lot of that. I'll get to that in a minute, but because I didn't stop, I'm not done. But I played a lot of Final Fantasy, like an astounding amount of Final Fantasy. And then the show happened, and I went, I'm in the mood for this thing. And Final Fantasy is nothing like that, so I got a little deterred. But anyway, so I installed Fallout 4, which I already owned, Fallout 76, which I already owned, and like I mentioned, New Vegas. And New Vegas I played, I think, 3 times, full story runs. Maybe I haven't done 100% of all the side quests and stuff, but I've done that game a lot.
Is it safe to say it's your favorite?
Yeah,
of the Fallout?
Story-wise, it's my favorite. Mechanics-wise, 4 is my favorite. Of all of them, my least favorite is of the newer ones, right, from 08 forward, right. I would say is probably 3. Not by a lot. I like 3. It's not my, like, for me, New Vegas so overwhelmed 3 in terms of what I liked about it that I just was like, oh, well, I'm never going back to 3. I'm just play this.
Yeah.
So I don't really have any poop to throw at 3. I don't have the love for it that a lot of people like John have for it. But anyway, so I did that. Now here's how this all ended up kind of funny. Bethesda known for bugs in their games, at launch especially, and they usually iron them out over time. 4's been out since 2015, 14, 15, I believe. Yeah, it is 15 because it was a big deal that year because I was playing Mad Max and Fallout at the same time, and it just seemed crazy to have 2 Wasteland games in my life. But anyway, so that game I get into, and I get as far as the second major story thing where I get to the middle of the Commonwealth. I'm in the old town, the city, and I'm meeting up with these ranger guys for the first time, and they want me to clear out the streets of all the riffraff, monsters, mutants, and then come back, and then we can move on. I did exactly what they asked me to do. I wasted everything, killed everything. I've now run over every square inch of that place. There's either one hidden or that won't spawn or that is... or the quest just cannot get past it because I keep going up to him after like 10 day-night cycles and going, are you sure I'm not done? Hurry up, get out there and get this done. We got to get these guys out of here before we can do anything else. I think I'm at a bug stopping nightmare right now. So I probably could have gone back and done this quest like 4 times over now, but I got hung up. And I think I know where it glitched. The game wants you in a suit of armor from the Steel Brotherhood. It wants me to kill everything while in it. The problem is I ran out of juice. The nuke pack that's in the back of the thing ran out before I killed the final dude. So it stops and, sits there, and I have to get out of it to kill anything. So I do, and then I kill the final dude. It didn't ping. It didn't say I was done. And later, though, while I was looping around the place, I don't know, 15 times, I come around there one more time, and a lady pops out of nowhere and goes, I'm going to kill you, you bastard. And I shot her, and she died.
Jeez.
And then still didn't finish. I'm like, well, that's weird. Are there more like her? She wasn't here before. I don't get it. So I went around the loop again, came back, and she popped again. Or one that looks just like her. I'm going to kill you, you bastard, she says. I'm like, damn it. This game is old. What are we doing here? So I shot her, and now I've not even been able to get her to come back. Like, I cannot get whatever's supposed to be left to spawn. There's nothing on the map.
Chad is saying it, and I remember it too. It's supposed to end with a Deathclaw fight.
Yeah, and I did that. Beat it.
Oh, so you killed the Deathclaw, but it's still saying not done.
Yeah, now that helps actually confirm my fear, which is that it's bugged. Because I did kill the Deathclaw, took its meat. I've eaten its meat. I've gotten that far where I've eaten the damn meat from the thing. I grilled it.
I've sampled its meat.
I did.
It's delicious Deathclaw meats I've sampled.
I needed it. So here's what happened. I said, well, let's put that to the side for a minute because that update's next week. I'll deal with it then. And then I fired up 76. I'm like, all right, we'll see what's going on in here. And I didn't know about their sub thing they have. So for like $6 for 2 months, and then after that it's 12 or something per month. You can sub to your own private server on there and have it for just you and your friends.
Sounds like
the way you phrase it sounds funny. I can sub to my own server.
Yeah,
it's like the inverse of what you expect from video gaming. Do you want to not play with other people? Pay a subscription to play by yourself.
It's I'm glad you brought that up because to me it is very weird. And I understand they kind of got there in a weird way. This wasn't the plan in the beginning. They thought they made a game where everybody was going to be stoked to PvP all day. That's what they thought. The original design plans for that game were everyone's going to kill everybody. It's going to be great. Big battle royale all the time. Turns out people didn't play it that way. They started helping each other and not fighting and all this sort of thing.
People wanted to play a game that played more like Fallout.
Like Fallout, exactly. Game. And I think that was absolutely a mistake for sure back then. But what they have done, the business minds at Bethesda have figured out a way to get additional revenue by saying, well, if you want the world to yourself and have this thing play exactly like a Fallout game that you're used to, you versus the world is what I want. Here it is. Pay me $6. And I did to try it. So I'm going to try it for a couple of months because I got the deal. And it's really good, you guys. That's a good Fallout game. Now, if you don't like Fallout games, you're not going to like it.
If it's a PvP game, but you play by yourself, what are you doing now?
Well, that's the thing. When it started, there were no NPCs. There were no NPC questing. It was just like a crafting world. This is early in the Fallout times, right? This is the first emergence of people in the timeline. And so the idea is that you'd go out there and there'd be a few muties and stuff, but for the most part, there are no other humans who have made it out. Like, that was their idea in the beginning, and nobody liked it. It was like, well, why are we doing this? And so they pretty quickly, well, I mean, the game's been out since, what, 2018, so not that quickly, but quickly enough, they started adding NPCs, quest lines, storylines, all this other extra crap, and kept all the base building stuff, which was already in 4, kind of. There's more of that, but it was already in 4.
It's kind of like a mini MMO now.
It is, but when you go by yourself...
you can play it and not have the MMO part.
Yeah, when you go by yourself, it plays like a game where you're just playing Fallout. Like, there's missions, you follow this radio signal. Oh, you found this guy. It turns out he's got 5 mutants that want to kill you. All right, you got to kill those. They need special guns to kill, so I'll go back and do these 3 quests. Ooh, I discovered a mine. This is weird in here. What am I going to find in here? Just a bunch of stuff. Cool, I found a bunch of weapons and materials. It plays like Fallout. It's just Fallout. It's like Fallout. It's, for all intents and purposes, it's almost Fallout 5 or 4.5 in the mechanics and the way the game looks. It really is just a Fallout game now, if you want to play it that way. It's also very solo friendly if you don't care if there are other people on and around. And I kind of don't. And either way, if I end this sub, I'm back to just the world the way it was, and I still have everything I had.
Turned off. Like, can you play with other like, if I logged in today and played and chose not the private server, would I be worried about getting killed by other players?
No, you'd have to turn that stuff on. Also, most of those people are doing like some of the events that are specifically PvP oriented, is my understanding. I didn't participate in them, so I can't say for sure, but I think that's the deal. You're not going to get ganked and freaking grief the minute you pop in, though. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So
sounds like it's like WoW PvP on a non-PvP server, where if you're flagged, then you can fight.
Yeah.
If not, then.
But the way it plays is the same. You have VATS, the sort of focus on the leg and shoot the leg VAT system, or just straight up shoot down iron sights. It's just Fallout. Like, it's Fallout as hell. There's nothing about it where you go, oh, this is a very different multiplayer game. It's not. It's like, here's Fallout, but with people in it. And here's why I tried this. First of all, it was cheap, and I just wanted to see. And someone in our Discord was raving about it. He's like, oh, I love it. It's less than I pay for WoW. I love it. It's great. I have my own server. I bring my friends in when I want, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, well, I'll just try it. And it is good. And the reason I want that, or think that's good, is I'm not looking, to John's point earlier, I'm not looking for a Fallout game where PvP is an issue, or that there are even other people that are humans in there. I don't want to play with them. I want this to be, this is Metroid to me. Yeah. Like, there are 3 games I always think of: Metroid, Fallout, and Diablo. Those are the 3 worlds I just don't want to see other people in. And Diablo 2 and 3 did a great job of having me not have to see other people unless I chose to, like with you guys or something. But I like that feeling of, it's me, the lone hero, against the world, especially in Fallout, because it's like a Western, man. It's like, all I got is the water on my back and this dog to help me. And that's the game for me, is that isolation, that feeling of like, it's just up to me.
And it's like, it's supposed to be immersive. Like, the world of Fallout, it's an immersive world. And that immersion immediately, like, you're like, oh yeah, I'm in the wasteland. And you know, that's where the role playing kind of comes in, and you're like, yeah, I'm going into this town for the first time. And it all falls apart when Dingus McLeod comes jumping across the screen repeatedly in front of you, and you're like, oh, this is just a doofy world with other people running around in it. And now all of a sudden the atmosphere is gone.
One of the first things I ran into is a level 20-something, 25 guy wearing a pumpkin for a head. He probably got a Halloween event or something, in front of a store that I needed to go into to do some quest. And he's out front just spinning slowly. Just spinning, AFK spinning. And I'm like, well, all right. And I can't kill him or do anything. And so the mystery breaks when I see that. For a lot of people, that's fine. And if you're more multiplayer focused, then I think this is probably fine also. But for me, Fallout games are about the lone survivor and me trying to survive in that world, even though they're not really survival games. I mean, they are in a way, but
it's the vibe.
It's the vibe, and the vibe works.
We're not talking purely mechanics. You're just saying the vibe is isolation.
And the servers where you get your own server and you can have 7 friends, so 8 people in there if you want, or they can only get in if you allow them in. is that it's a Fallout game without anybody else in it except me and a world of NPCs and missions and weird characters and all the shit you get from Fallout games. Like it's all in there. Now they took a while to get there, right? This is all relatively late game changes to what that game was originally designed to be, which was, you know, kind of roundly criticized. It was also really buggy at launch, but hey, Bethesda, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But this is a really polished, very cool new place. You're in oh geez, we were just talking about Walton Goggins. It's perfect. In the Appalachia, you're in the, you know, Appalachian Mountains, that area, a lot of old mining camps from the before times, small towns that are kind of mountain towns, that kind of thing. And so it's a totally different setting than we're used to. Amazing radio stuff, multiple channels. They appear as you go on, like the game introduces more of that as you do it. Some of it's mechanically important to know that, oh, the mayor of such and such town's on the radio screaming for help. Let's see if we can find out where this guy's broadcasting from. You know, all those elements, that stuff that's in Fallout, it's all there. And I have to say, I'm totally kind of blown away by 76. I think it's took them a while, but I think they made a kind of a kick-ass Fallout game that is very solo friendly, even without the private server. With the private server, I admit it's weird because I'm paying for a thing that's the opposite. It should be the other way. It's like,
Yeah.
here's your solo game. Here's your solo RPG experience. Would you like some multiplayer? Well, that's going to cost you this much a month. That makes sense to me from a million ways. That makes sense to me. But this way is just a weird flip, and it's because of how they started and where they are now. And I don't know. It's fine. You get a bunch of free perks when you sign up for this thing, and also there's a storage bin for all your scrap that's kind of endless. That's going to be really hard for me not to have, so it's going to be hard for me to want it. When I'm playing, I'm probably going to sub because I really like that. But also, here's the cool thing, Bo. Let's say I'm logging in tomorrow, and I go, well, I have my private thing because I'm subbing, but I kind of just want to go in the public world and see what everybody's doing. Totally do that. It's not a problem. And you don't lose any progress. You don't lose any stuff. You don't lose anything. You're just...
That's cool.
The world's now just got population in it. And if I quit the sub and I'm forced in there permanently, I still keep everything I had, including whatever I had in scrap storage is still there. I may not be able to add to it because I filled up whatever the limit is in the regular world. So those perks, they don't carry over, but they don't take anything away from you that you've already done. And you just continue on. And then a month later, I could go, you know what? I am going to resub. And I could do it again. I go back to my private world if I want. They also have temporary worlds that are like crazy rules and stuff. I haven't tried one of those, but you can do these other things. They're not really worlds. It's more like, I don't know what to call them. They're not servers. They're just different instances.
Like shards or something like that?
Kind of virtual, though. Like it doesn't feel like it's a specific server. It's more like, in this icon you clicked, nobody's in here but you. And this one you click, there's a bunch of people in there. And people seem very friendly. The community seems pretty good from what I can tell when I was spending some time in there. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to oversell 76, but I am very surprised how much I like it. And the stories have been really good so far. The mechanics are strong. A bunch of UI tweaks that I think are hugely welcome in a Fallout game, like area looting. It's not like an MMO, though, where you just click on one guy and everyone's loot comes to you. You hit X instead of A on a corpse, and it will say, all right, well, all the local corpses now, you'll see off to the right a list of the things you can get. So I'm like, well, I'll take all the ammo, and that one guy's gun looks good, and I think his shoulder pad's all right, and the rest I'll leave. Because
that's nice. That sounds like some modern game design in a Bethesda game, which is genuinely one of the most shocking things I've heard.
That's right.
That feature didn't even exist in Starfield, a game that would come out significantly later.
Yeah, I guess a game as a service-ish is what this is. Has the potential for a longer tail of changes and tweaks and updates, and they don't get stuck in whatever, like whatever those things are.
What do we do in Skyrim? What if we did that again, but a little worse?
Exactly. So I don't know. I'm really enjoying it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that everybody's ready for this. If you already don't like Fallout games, this will not change you. Like, Bo, if you get bored in Fallout games, you're not going to like this game.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, never. I never get anywhere in them.
I'm intrigued by it because
even Fallout 4 VR. If I could just finish this thought, I was like, this is boring, and I stopped playing.
Yeah, so it's not going to be for you. Go ahead, John.
I'm intrigued by it because I did also somewhat go down this rabbit hole. I reinstalled Fallout 4 and was about to launch it, and then saw reports that it was getting a big like next gen update.
Yeah.
And went, oh well, I'll wait till that comes out. I'm not gonna play it now.
Yeah.
So I uninstalled it. Which is fine because
next Tuesday, I
of
think.
the Fallout games anyway.
I think it's Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday it comes out. Anyway, keep going.
But I did also buy Fallout 76, and I was like, maybe I'll check that out. But I just like the big thing. Every time I thought about playing, I was like, people.
I know. That's my whole thing.
I don't want to play with other people. It's the last thing I want to see. So,
I said the exact same thing in 4.
Give it a try.
4 actually pressured me because it got stuck on a stupid ass quest break, and I went, well, what else am I going to do? I guess I'll give 76 a try and really try, not just poke in and go, I don't know if I want to see other people. When I learned about the sub and all these other things, I was just like, oh, okay, well, maybe there's something here. And then the $6, basically half off for the first 2 months was enough for me to go, well, I can try that. I can cancel anytime. I can cancel off the first month if I want. And that just seemed like a no-brainer for $6. So that's then I got sucked in. But I'm totally you, John. Yeah.
Having finished the TV show, I think what I'm going to do is deep dive into, I'll be BEAU, my 198 mods that I need to get Fallout New Vegas up and running and not looking like ass.
Yeah.
And I think I might play that because from my understanding, almost universally people will say that is the best one of the modern Fallouts. I let a couple of little things keep me out of that game. It wasn't just that it was sand, everybody, but that did not help.
Yeah.
I will say loading it up and being just hit by brown and yellow did not do that game favors for me.
Sure.
But you can change your Pip-Boy color, which is nice because I hate the yellow Pip-Boy. I hate it with a fiery passion. But I think that knowing that what is pretty universally considered the best one is one that I have not played very much of. I think I need to fix that.
Yeah.
So
and there's tons of that. Like Nexus Mods is loaded with that crap. I'm sure there's some definitive pack that is textures and resolution jumps and fixes all your UI needs, makes it much more modern or whatever. I don't know. I probably should do that too, just so I can, because I do love that game. New Vegas is so good, dude.
That's the one that I wish they would remake. Like,
remaster.
I know that the next gen patch is not exactly a remake. It's not a ton of work or anything like that. I don't want to say a ton of work. It's not like they're reworking the entire game or anything like that. But again, I've made my thoughts on it well known. I'm going to lean into it one more time here and say I can't believe they're wasting the time with Fallout 4. Like, I 100% agree with you, Scott. It is the best playing of those games.
Yeah.
So I just want to see them take like a good Fallout game and apply that gameplay and graphics fidelity and all of that to it. I think that would be really, really nice. So
yeah. I'll tell you this. I know you like some color in your games, if people can somehow pull it off. 76 has like fall colors all up and down that place.
Yeah, it's very vibrant. The TV show also very colorful.
Very colorful.
Can't tell you how nice it was to watch a post-apocalyptic TV show that had color in it, where they didn't just go, well, we want to sell post-apocalyptic, so just brush everything with a light shade of yellow and brown and call it a day.
Yeah, that city of Philly is like fun to look around. Like, it's actually an exciting city of shit and garbage, but they didn't flush it all out with like browns and yellows and stuff, which I like that as well. And where they needed it to be harsh, ugly, terrible desert, they did.
Yeah, and it felt appropriate there. So I'm either gonna probably next week I will either be back to say I played Fallout 76 or Fallout New Vegas after downloading a billion mods, because that is the biggest hurdle. As I look at it and I just go, oh my!
It looks like ass. Yeah.
It looks so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think Morrowind is one of the best Elder Scrolls games, but I can't go back to it.
Well, now that Microsoft owns Bethesda and Obsidian, There's no reason, and end all this hype. If I were Microsoft, I would have the meeting and say, look, guys, it's all under one roof now. You aren't separate anymore. And also all those bygones, forget about all those disagreements you had back then, because there were issues. Let's go ahead and work together and remaster a proper New Vegas and even talk about the future, perhaps, of a collaboration with them. Because by all accounts, the other thing that was nice about New Vegas at the time of launch was it was way less buggy than 3 or later 4 at launch. And all they did was take their engine and in 18 months made a game. Like, that's the other crazy thing. There's a whole story behind how Obsidian had to, like, probably too much cramming and, you know, what do they call it now that everyone's trying to cut out in games? What's it called? Not cramming, but where they work too
Crunch.
Captain
Crunch.
It's probably the lord of crunch time to do that, but they did it, and they did it beautifully, and there's no reason. You all own the two companies now.
KOTOR 2 in 14.
Yeah, so do it. Get it done.
It's insane.
Yeah, Obsidian's one of my favorite devs anyway. Like when Delver or whatever it is, the new thing's coming out from them. Forgot the name. Pause working on Outer Worlds for just a minute, Outer Worlds 2, and just remaster this game and make everybody happy. And then Season 2 will hit around that time, and everyone will be shitting their pants. There's money on the table, Microsoft, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, now is the time to lean into New Vegas.
Yeah, I agree.
Now's the time. Double down on it. Let's go.
Yep.
Let's do it.
All right. If you're all sick of me talking about Fallout, well, good, because I'm done talking about it.
No, talk about it as much as you want. Man.
I did play a ton of Final Fantasy 14. I am kind of all in on that thing. I didn't know that it ran so beautifully on the Steam Deck. Nobody told me that it was.
I didn't know. I didn't play it on the Steam Deck. I can't get used to the controller support. Kyle told me it's great.
Told Scott.
You told me it was great.
Yeah.
Your fault.
But I have not played the game with a controller, but I would imagine that if you like the controller, the Steam Deck would be a great place to play it. Actually, Gabe Newell is the one who first said you should be playing it on a Steam Deck. I remember when he was doing the Steam Deck tour, and he was like, yeah, my son needs a healer, so I play a healer in Final Fantasy. I run around with him, and I do that. Yeah. And then people were like, hey, Gabe, Final Fantasy hasn't been approved for Steam Deck yet. And he's like, he was like, well, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay. In fact, I think it's still... The only reason it's not because all the categories are checked to green except one, which is the account setup part.
Yep.
That's the only part, which is still the hardest boss in the game. And I won't even get into
that.
It's
not easy off of Steam
No.
Deck, so, you know.
Oh, my gosh, dude. I had the worst time trying to get that to work just on the account level. When I finally did, no problem, smooth sailing. But what a pain in the ass. Those guys need to make that better. Anyway, they're probably not going to because we've been complaining for years. And it's just shit. But anyway, that's a problem. Because I like how the controller feels, and I had already gotten used to it on console and PC, and I've been talking to Kyle about it, and he'd always said, "Oh yeah, it's the way to go." And I think he's right. I really like it. It seems part of this is they co-developed the game, the PC version of the game with PlayStation in mind, and so that the controller was always going to be a factor. And so I think they really thought about it. Like it's a very smart implementation. There are also Steam Deck. Well, you know how in Steam and on Steam Deck, there's a way to have custom controller configs that the community have built or whatever. Yeah. There's those as well. So if you might find one that maybe does a little something better than overall or whatever. But the default one's working great for me, and I played the shit out of that game, mostly at night, mostly in bed. How
far are you?
Level
where are you at in the story?
30 something. I did my first 2 dungeons with AI dungeon people.
Okay.
I hadn't done that before. And that was great.
Yeah.
I liked it.
The way AI dungeons work is really cool because you can watch the AI, like they do mechanics. It's not just you're running in there with dumb robots that you need to heal or just stand in. Like they actually move out of the stuff. They go where they need to go. They do the things they need to do. And really the only penalty you pay for doing it with AI is it will take you a lot longer.
Like it does take a little longer.
A regular group will clear it much faster.
Yeah, I did notice that. I noticed that, but it still wasn't too bad. And you know that early one, I don't know which level this would have been, but it's a dungeon where you'll know this because you played through the whole thing so much. You're following the robed guy and he he zaps a bug or a spider, and then the spider gets all big.
Yeah,
it's that one. That was fun. Like, I totally enjoyed it, and I didn't have the anxiety of like, am I doing this right? Is anyone going to be? What's the healer thinking? I didn't have to think about it because they're all freaking bots, and they all did great. And they even saved my ass at one point because I got a little bunged up, not knowing about something that was on the floor. I know, shocker. Get out of the fire, Gerp.
You stood in the fire. Yeah.
But the healer like bailed me out and like last second flash healed me, and it was just like, I don't know, it felt good. I had a really good time with that. And it also was nice not waiting around and not like having to queue up. And even though that stuff's quick, it's just like, let me just get through this. It's a story point. I'm playing it like you told me is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm playing it like a Final Fantasy game. Straight up. That just feels like an MMO, but it's a Final Fantasy story and game. I'm not skipping text. I'm listening and reading everything. And I'm having a great time. So going to keep at it. Keep playing that game. It's great. If Fallout hadn't gotten my way, this is all I would have done. This was it.
I know. I kept seeing you on at night. I'd just pull up Steam and I'd be trying to figure out what I was going to play. And I'd be like, oh, who's fantasy right now? Oh, it's Scott. There he is. He's doing his thing.
I couldn't stop. All right. Now here's one that I cannot wait to tell you guys about. This is not an old game or an existing game. It's a brand new game. Well, it does exist, but it's a brand new game.
This is on my wish list, and I didn't pull the trigger.
One of the weirdest things I have played. You really should, because was it like $4.99 or something? It's like $5. Super cheap.
I think it's pretty cheap. Yeah.
This is crazy. So it showed up in my. I think I had it wish listed as well, and it showed up and saying, "Oh, it's here." And I didn't remember wish listing it. I don't remember a thing about it.
Oh,
but it's this game called. Hey, do you guys hear this music too? Hold on. You're in some weird back alley.
Oh my gosh, it's $2.99. It's $3. Why didn't I just buy it?
Oh, just buy that, dude. Buy it. Buy it right now.
The game's $3. What am I doing?
I can't believe that
why
guy.
Why did I get precious about that?
Half the comments are like, when will this guy realize he's ripping himself off and raise this price? This is so stupid. Because it's a good game. And it's worth way more than $2.99. But anyway, it's called Buckshot Roulette. And Buckshot Roulette seems kind of simple at first, because the concept at the basic core of it is there's a gun on the table. It has a number of blanks in it. It's like a shotgun with multiple shells in it. It's got a number of blanks and a number of live rounds. And you don't know what order they're in. So it's like Russian roulette. You could fire it at your head and it will click and nothing will happen. And then it's the other guy's turn. In this case, it's this weird-faced, pumpkin-headed looking demon guy. The whole vibe reminds me of that card game that we liked that was Inscription. Yeah, very. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he was totally inspired by that style. This one developer that did this.
Is it actually like a monster over there? Is it like a person that they put a scary mask on so you're shooting an innocent person?
I don't know. Now that you say that, I mean, he kind of looks like. You know what? I don't know. I mean, and they don't really tell you. It's meant to be a little nebulous, and he's supposed to be a little freaky over there, and he's got these disembodied hands. And anyway, the whole concept is you're taking turns shooting at one another or at yourself, and then at the other guy, and he has to decide when to do it or whatever. And that seems like, well, that's boring. That's why it's $3. It's just total RNG. Like, which bullet am I going to get? Then things get interesting. They just did it in the video. You'll see in a second. These grids show up on the video. Look like they're carved out in chalk lines. And every round you get these items. One is a box cutter. The other one is a pack of cigarettes. The other one is I can't remember the other ones. There's other ones. I'll see them here in a second. Oh, one is handcuffs, and that means you can make it so the dealer has to handcuff himself, basically skip a turn. So in a weird way, these objects are like cards, kind of, right?
Yeah.
And they affect what you do. So if you use the knife, it cuts off the barrel and creates more damage. So it creates two hits instead of one. And you saw off the barrel to do that. It miraculously like beams back into the end of the gun after the turn, but that's part of this sort of weirdness of the game. It's just very weird and ethereal. There's a can of something you drink. I forget what it does. It's on screen right now. Anyway, all of these objects act as almost like cards or modifiers, and they change the whole dynamic of the game. There's still the aspect of like, crap, am I going to know like when I put that in my, am I going to die? Is this it? Am I done here? I only have 1 hit point left. And you still have that feeling, but there are moments where, oh, I know what the cans do. You drink them and it will let you see what's next, either a live round or a blank. But those are rare. You don't get those cans very often. And so the nice thing about that is you can say, oh, well, blank's next. And I also have handcuffs. So I will drink it and go, oh, blank's next. All right. I'm going to drink that, see the thing, fire it myself.
Right.
No problem, because it's blank, right? Because I foresaw it with this drink. Then I can handcuff him, and now I have 2 shots at him, which is way better odds that I'm going to shoot him, that he's going to get hit, because there are more live rounds than blanks inside the gun. And the number, by the way, of live rounds versus blanks is always different. Every round is a totally different number. I forget what the smoking does. He's smoking now. Oh, smoking gives you another life.
It's just like playing the odds and then getting a bunch of modifiers that let you either mess with the odds or understand the odds better.
100%. That's it.
That's awesome.
You said that way really faster than I did. It took me way too long to explain it, because that is it. That's the essence of it. And the art style is this weird kind of hybrid. I mean, it's 3D, but it's like gross and kind of gritty. I don't know. That Inscription game is the perfect example. When you look at that, you'll see this, you're like, oh my gosh, it's like the same universe almost. He can handcuff you too, which really sucks. Freaking F that guy. He has the same kind of tools too. Anyway, you're trying to go as long as you can, survive as long as you can.
Can you play it 2 players?
Yeah. So the rumor, not yet, but the rumor is this dude's adding a multiplayer mode, which would be insane. Imagine playing Russian roulette with a friend, but knowing this is going to be harmless, but it's still very intense. And when
no one dies from
right,
isn't game over. Like it's like
right, it's just
you
fun.
Shoot yourself 100 times in the face. Yeah,
exactly. And the thing that's cool is the game is visceral in a weird way. When you hold that gun up to yourself and you see the barrel and it's sort of shaking, and you pull the trigger, you really don't know for sure what's going to happen unless it was a blank and you knew about it. And I've jumped back in my chair, like, oh gosh, dang it freaking hit me. And then you get these 2 paddles that wake you up because you have 3 lives or whatever. Same thing goes for him. He can survive so long. And oh, see, there's one right there. He just shot himself. Oh, geez. So it's this just really great combination of vibe and gameplay and luck, but modifiable luck. Just a total catch, man. A total find. This is the kind of game I love, and can't recommend it enough. Freaking $3. Not Game Pass. Steam's where I got it. $2.
Cool.
$2.99, and it runs on Steam Deck. I know I say that every time, but it does. And I played this all night the other night. It's so good. Anyway, that is called Buckshot Roulette. Go check it out. I also played more stuff like Balatro. We'll get to that and Spell Rogue more with John in a minute, because I think Spell Rogue's your first stab at that this week. More Toem, other games, but those are my main ones. John, let's swing it over to you. Tell me about your time with Spell Rogue and Balatro.
Yeah, I continue to, I don't know what's going on. I do know what's going on, but I'm trying to be polite and say it this way. I don't have a lot of time for video games these days, so just haven't played much. When I catch a moment as a result, I'm mostly playing very casual things. So I played a lot of Balatro. But the new one for me is Spell Rogue. Bo played this first, Scott played it last week, and now add me to the list of people that is excited about it. I do think that I'm probably going to take a break from it and check back in when it's done and released. But I think this game is really, really cool. It's Slay the Spire with dice. I think that it's also one of the more forgiving ones of these games. Like, I felt like such a pro. Like, this is the first time I was like, oh, I cleared the first map. Look at me feeling real special, because that took me so long to do the first time in Slay the Spire. It was felt like a real gauntlet trying to get there. But this one, I was like, oh no, I did it. I'm a pro at this game. And then I got crushed very quickly into map 2. But at least it felt like I had this nice ramp up and I was doing something. I wasn't just losing right away.
Right.
And it seems like it's got a lot of hidden depth. and a lot of cool ways they can build on that game. I think, I think there's a lot of stuff that they can do. It's still early access. So, I have a few things where I think some of the UI elements could probably be a little better, a little more intuitive. I think that there might need to be some balancing, it feels like, with, and maybe I'm just not far enough to see it, but I felt like I was getting so many new spell cards, and there's such a limited inventory on what you can use. It's like somebody keeps giving you something that you don't need. So it feels a little over rewarding on something that felt not that exciting or interesting. But little nitpicks aside, like, it's a fantastic game. I had a great time with it.
Do you agree that the addition of dice is just a great, I don't know, I like that in a game. I like that it's Slay the Spire and its cards, and I still have to think about that, but I like the random aspect of it of, oh, sweet, I rolled 2 6s, I've got this guy. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I think the dice is a really cool element. I think it makes it neat, but I think that's what kind of goes into my complaint about it, is it still gives you new cards as if it's a card deck building game, but the game's then more really about the dice.
Yeah.
And while you do swap out spells, like, you don't do it at such a rate where, like, every encounter I need a new spell to look at. Like, that just seemed a little...
No, you do, like, pile them up and sell them. Yeah, whereas in, like, Slay the Spire, it all gets added to your deck mostly. Like,
yeah.
It's just so there's a lot of useless stuff where you're like, is this useless? Like, you're like, is this bad? And I'm evaluating it wrong. Like, there's the whole dynamic of trying to decide to include it in your lineup, but you only get a maximum of 7 cards because you never shuffle them or change them unless you're changing your loadout. So it is weird. There is, like, a weird dynamic. I almost think, like, it would make more sense if you got new dice, not new abilities.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, Mario Party is a weird call, but Mario Party did an interesting thing with that where different Mario characters had different dice, where it's like, oh, this character has high risk but high reward dice, where it's like, most of the sides are 1s, but you get, 3 of the sides are all maxes or something like that. Like, I feel like they could do interesting things with that, because that would be more interesting than a bunch of cards that I'm just like, I don't think
technically the dice don't have to be 1 to 6. They can be. I got a 2 to 7 dice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, oh wow, like, it's just like, because
there are
at a certain point you've got your build and you're like, well, it's my build. I don't need any more cards.
You're totally right. There's some artifacts too. Artifacts or runes or whatever they call them in this one. It's like artifact system that will give some characters certain kind of dice at the top of the thing, and they're weird and different. Like, you'll always get a 6 that's all green, and the green means it's going to heal you for some amount of a thing, and you only get it once per round. And, like, they're already doing some of that. I kind of do wish they would have the dice be more of the factor than the cards, or either that, or I just need to get in the mindset of, like, sell them as soon as I get them so that I can then afford better shit at the store. I don't know. Maybe that's a hard design thing.
I just felt like I always had, and I don't know, maybe this is why I'm, not clearing the second map or something. I don't know. But, like, I always felt like I was just acquiring a lot of waste in the game. And that is one thing that I didn't feel in Slay the Spire. Like, I was interested every time something new came across as a reward. It was like, oh, I need this. And this game had a lot of, I don't care.
Yeah. It's nice, though.
It also impacts your deck, too, because, like, as your deck bloats, you might have synergy for a while, but if you take on too many cards, then your probability of drawing the combos or good shit that you're building towards gets diluted, and that's a skill expression whether to pass or add cards in the later game.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, yeah, definitely there was a point where I had like 5 or 6 extras. I made it to my first run to the 3rd map, but I had like 10 things. I even had a fire thing at one point. I'm like, do I include this? Like,
yeah,
I'm just gonna sell it, right? So,
Dicey Dungeon does this too, but I don't feel the same weird sense that it's too many of the cards. You know what I mean? I don't know why they're doing it differently. I guess it's
and I mean, it's an early access, so they can figure it out. But that was just my feeling of it. Like, if I want to say, you know, this is a game experience I enjoyed 90% of. That 10% was probably feeling like I had inventory management because they kept giving me something I did not care about.
Yeah.
And then I felt like I should care about it more.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, so I played that. Most of my, again, limited game time went to NeiR Replicant, version 1.22474487139, and so on. So last week I said that this game did not really have anything, like that it was very good, but that it didn't have anything that seemed to like set it apart from other games of this ilk.
Yep.
And I was immediately wrong because the next time I played this game, I went to an area and the game turned into a text adventure for a brief window of time.
Oh my.
And then I went to a different area and the game became an homage to Resident Evil for a small bit of time. And I went, oh, this game does some wild stuff. It very much puts it later in the game. But this game does get a little crazy and a little cool in some unexpected ways. And then I was like, am I getting to the end of this game? And all of a sudden the game did a time jump. And I'm like, you know what? I think there's a lot more to this game than I thought there was. I am now going to be hesitant to act like I know everything that this game is going to deal because in this past week, it has had some shocking changes to what it's showing, what I'm doing, and how the game is playing. So, you know, now, I mean, before I was running around with one weapon, swinging it around, my book helping me, and now all of a sudden I'm switching between multiple weapon types and using the book and doing all this stuff. And it's gotten a lot more challenging out of nowhere. I was like, oh, I got a good grasp on this. I got a good build for everything. And now all of a sudden everything's way harder than it was before. So it's still got me guessing and it still has me intrigued and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So I think I'm going to keep with this. And who knows, maybe when I finish it, I'll move on to Automata and see how that goes. But it's really good. Chat just said it. I just saw it pop up. It is a phenomenal soundtrack. It is really, really good.
Really?
So
I hadn't heard that. They got good tracks on there, eh?
Oh, it's really good. And especially because, so Final Fantasy XIV does a set of raids that are tie-ins to NeiR, and everybody said, oh, it's tied into NeiR Automata. It actually ties into a bunch of their games, including this one. So I fought a boss that was literally a raid encounter in Final Fantasy XIV the other day.
Oh, no way.
And I was like, oh, this is so cool.
That is cool.
This is really, really neat. I didn't get any of those references in that raid. I liked the raid. The raid was cool. The fights were interesting, but I didn't know where any of these models for the most part came from, except for the one that was from literally the intro level of Automata. And now all of a sudden I'm like, oh, look, it's those guys. Oh, it's this thing. Like, it's a lot of references, and they also remixed some of the music for 14. So as good as the soundtrack is, they did twists where it would play a little bit of the NeiR soundtrack, and then they would mix in the Final Fantasy theme with it.
Yeah,
it's so good.
I'll bet.
So good.
So here's some of it here. Lots of choir, choir cathedral kind of stuff.
Play the song called "It'll Look Like Cain," but apparently it's pronounced Kaine.
Kaine. So, but it looks like it's spelled Cain. Oh, C-A-I-N-E. Here we go. Let's try that.
Play this one.
All right. Is this the one?
Yeah.
It says it's called that. Here, I'll skip around a little.
No, this isn't it.
This isn't it?
This isn't it. No, it's not in English. The song is not in English. I don't know what the hell this is.
All right. It's what it says.
That ain't it. Don't play that.
I'll never play that again. That's what I'll do.
Get out of here. Yeah. I don't know where you got that music from.
YouTube.
Not the right place. That's
YouTube.
For sure.
And it says...
No, YouTube's got it wrong.
YouTube
has it all wrong.
It says NeiR Replicant Caine, C-A-I-N-E. That's all I got.
Well, they spelled it wrong because it's spelled with a K to begin with. So they're already way off base.
How about this one? Is this it? Hold on. Here, I'll skip around again.
Shocking. YouTube gets it wrong.
This isn't
close, but no, that's not right. No, it isn't good. You're messing it up, Scott. Come on.
Look, I'm telling you, one person has a C. This one has a K. There's an apostrophe above or an accent mark over the E.
Hold on. I'm going to find it.
All right. You find it for me and we'll play it.
Just hold on.
I don't want to misrepresent music. I'm a big fan of game soundtracks and, all that stuff. And the nice thing is we can play it without getting in trouble here, which I like.
People can go look it up themselves. It's fine. They can find it.
Yeah, go find that.
It's a great soundtrack. It's a great soundtrack. Go find it yourself.
Yeah, good luck is what I would say to them because I can't find it apparently. Well, that's great. That game seems cool. I love Replicant, or no, the other one, Automata or Automata, however you say it.
I don't know. People always say I say it wrong. I've stopped caring.
Automata.
That's the one. Nailed it. All right.
Means no pants.
No pants or worries about your pants, really. Hey, Bo, tell us about No Rest for the Wicked, which is this the Ori in the Wild Forest or whatever the hell it was called. Those people are making a thing.
This is where I'm probably gonna pull a lot of aggro. So yes, it's from the Ori developers. It's been featured in a lot of showcases coming up. They're doing an action RPG. They're reinventing action RPG, apparently. And it just released today in early access, and I was super stoked. Immediately bought it and decided to stream some.
Yeah.
You want the good or the bad first?
Well, the good seems to be it looks real nice. Let's start with the bad, and then you can tell me other good stuff. Let's do the bad first.
Bad, we got a list. A good thing it's early access, but this game made me very cranky.
Oh.
So one of the big things, they even say it on their splash page, is they're trying to invent something new with action RPGs. So please bear with us.
Yeah.
They're not inventing anything new. Unless it's their first time making an action RPG. So everything about good controls of these games is new to them. So it's basically Dark Souls, but top down. That's, love the idea. Everything's supposed to be weighty, meaty, and you're not supposed to be able to dodge without burning your stamina bar. Challenging like the Souls games are. Except their control scheme is A, incompetent, and B, the delays they put on things make no sense, are wildly inconsistent, and just straight up bad. So an example of how it's bad, they offer mouse and keyboard support, but the game, when you move around, you move slowly, right? So it's WASD controls. Tons of games have already done this. V Rising, Raven's Watch, Curse of the Dead Gods.
Sure.
It's not new ground. So you can sprint in the game. You hold down shift. That's great. However, the button to hold up your shield to block, if you have a shield, is control. You cannot put shift and control at the same time if you need to run and quickly swap over. It's in a really bad spot. You're saying, Bo, it's a PC game. Why don't you change your key bindings? Well, you got two sets of key bindings, and you can only swap between the two. You cannot key bind anything. So it made me really cranky. And, I don't mind playing these games with a controller. And people do recommend playing with a controller, even though if you're releasing it for PC, your PC controls should be workable. Oh, I had another example. The alternate input has you have to hold down the right mouse button at a point to get him to move, not click. Like it would otherwise be like MOBA controls, which seems sweet, but nope, they're like hold down. New control scheme, and I'm like, why don't you play some games first and just use the control schemes that exist? So I don't know. The fact that they made that comment just kind of rubbed me the wrong way because this is plenty of examples of these games working good. This boss fight you're showing, for example, in order to properly do it, I had to take off all my armor and use the knife because it's the only weapon that works great. It has that Dark Souls or Elden Ring kind of thing where, heavy weapons swing slow. Unfortunately, it's like the buttons are also not very responsive. So, for example, if you're doing a dodge, if you double tap dodge again in the middle of one dodge, you'll dodge twice. But if you dodge in and go for a sword attack, you got to complete the dodge first, and your guy will not queue up the auto attack. It's really inconsistent. So the controls suck, TLDR. Like they're very bad. And in order to confirm this, and I wasn't just being cranky, I went to play a game just like it called Raven's Watch. Guess what? Raven's Watch also has telegraphed attacks, has you dodging and blocking, time parries, works great, controls great, is beautiful. So I'd say to the No Rest for the Wicked devs, not inventing anything new here. Go play some Raven's Watch and apply it to the game, please.
Wow, dark take. Okay.
Yeah, so that it made me pretty cranky, because the game also has performance issues. So the graphics options are also not good. You can tell they're making this game for the Xbox 360, right? Like that era of game where it's like, oh, we have a top-down game, but we're not going to give you lots of options to modify your game. And the option was dynamic resolution, so I can make the game look like it's 260 by 120, and then maybe it runs better, but I can't see anything. And but it asks like, what's your target FPS? It's like 120, but can't achieve it. These are also issues that I think they've already mentioned, have been frequently complained about. You'll see the reviews are sitting at a mixed, and they released a post acknowledging both of the things I've talked about. So hopefully that's the case, but I can't recommend it. It's bad enough that it plays very poorly right now.
Do you think it can turn around for him, though? I mean, it's early access. Maybe.
I hope so.
Both of those things are fixable. Like,
sure,
they are
hasn't
fixable.
said anything that can't be fixed.
Right.
They are fixable, but like what rubbed me the wrong way was just the attitude of that message when I logged into the game, where it felt like it making excuses. So I was like, it made me like, why are you saying all this stuff about it? About this being an innovative game, please have patience with this one. It's just like, well, you just make a good top-down ARPG. Like, it's been doable 100 times. So it made me a little worried. Like, sometimes when people make comments like that, it's because they insist their bad vision is good, and that's just the road they're going to go down. So I don't think we're out of the woods yet. If they were just like, we're trying to make Hades a good game, like Hades has these controls, it's great. So anyways. Yeah. I can't recommend people to buy it based on my experience of it, unfortunately, even though it looks fantastic. The story leading up to it, takes a bit of, it's kind of like Yakuza. There's some cutscenes in it, and you're like going, oh my God, get me into the action RPG. But they are interesting and good. The voice acting's great. The music's great. The art's great. Like, Ori is known to be a beautiful game, and this game is no exception. It's got a great style. I love it. But it's very unplayable at the moment, I find. So,
all right, maybe down the road, check in again.
Oh yeah, it did another thing too that I hated, which is like, you show up on the shore, you have no weapons. Okay, makes sense. We're starting the ARPG adventure. Sure. I fight 5 guys with swords and can't pick up their dinky sword. You know what I mean? It's one of those where it's just like, can I have a sword, please? Like, they've got swords. Give me a sword, and I don't get a sword. And the fights are challenging. I would say the trash mobs are way harder than that boss. The boss you showed, I beat in 2 attempts, but some trash mobs killed me. I think I died like 9 times to one of the trash mobs on the way to the boss. So not off to a great start, but there's hope for it, I guess. So there you go.
Sounds like maybe they just are a little too early with the early access release.
Well, and I mean, if they don't know, maybe they'll benefit from this.
I mean, they play the game.
It's definitely a different genre than what they're used to. So
yeah, no doubt.
It's bad on controller guys too. Just for the comments in there where it's like, oh, key bindings suck. It's not any better on controller, in my opinion. So.
All right, we got a couple people in the chat who are like, I love this. This is awesome.
Yeah, there are people who love it, but people have different, I think, expectations on how well the game controls. So if you log into Raven's Watch, you'll get a sense of what I'm looking for from the control scheme.
Yeah,
and it's, you can't say it's that.
And this isn't on preview for Game Pass or anything else, right? As far as I know, meaning console players might have a different experience because optimization or something, or it's less PC centric or something. I don't know if they're doing that.
Yeah,
I can't.
I mean, hopefully, I'll report in for sure.
Yeah.
It sounds like people just are gonna have different feelings about how a thing should play and control. But
usually I don't get that cranky when I don't like a game, and I cut the stream off. I pretty much rage quit the game. I was really excited to play, and in 3 hours I was like upset and just like, okay, guys, I'm gonna prep for core, make dinner and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
terrible.
I think to anybody that's defending it, it's fine. Like, like what you like, but it has a mixed reception on Steam, and I think it's probably mixed for a reason, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. There's a few issues there, but it does look gorgeous. A lot of potential here, so I will definitely be. I'm not refunding. There's a lot, and I will check back in as development and early access continues.
All right, we'll see what how that all goes. Let's also now hear about your time in StarCraft 2 co-op commanders. Are you playing with somebody or just yourself?
Oh yeah, I listed the rest of what I did, but we don't. There isn't much to talk about. Like, I think we mined StarCraft 2 for all of its conversation. I played more co-op commanders. I played Artanis this week.
yeah,
nothing wrong with Artanis. Are you playing? You're just on your own, or are you co-oping with somebody, or what are you?
Yeah, just solo queue, and
Okay.
it's always another player there. Never more than a minute for a game, and you can tell they're human because they good luck, have fun, and
right.
they say things. So yeah, it's just a great time. I've been watching lots of StarCraft 2 esports. I really don't want to play on ladder, so this is the next best thing is to play a co-op match, and they're fun. And it's the prestige levels, right? Like you max out the level, and then you can go back to 0 and level up to level 15, but with a new trait. So I'm playing Artanis and trying to do traits and getting my scarabs, and I kind of like the Banshees, the big like scythe like airships that shoot giant balls at people.
Oh yeah.
It's just fun. It's just like the whole process of going from command center and 5 drones to full on army is like a fun process.
Yeah.
So I played a lot of that.
Yeah.
In WoW Sod, the core guild has we're at 6 of 8 in Sunken Temple. And more so that it's just funny that the raids are like, these raids are like harder than anything like WoW Classic has ever done. So it's like they actually have some pretty challenging mechanics. But the good news is we were able to field 20 people. So that's congrats everyone in Core Guild for showing up and doing that stuff. I think on Saturday we'll continue our lockout and have the raid done. So
nice.
Great.
Congratulations to everyone. That's great.
Yeah. And then that's pretty much it. Again, SOD is taking up a lot of my time because that's it's the phase just released, so it has my interest. And I played some Baldur's Gate 3 as per normal. We're just getting to the end of Act 2 now in the multiplayer playthrough.
Oh, so. Crofton and Mike and all that.
We should be finished by Christmas.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan. I didn't put it in here or want to bring it up later because it's not really a news item, but this Heroes of the Storm PTR update's got a lot of people talking. Like it's kind of a major thing. Like
there's a lot there, so it looks like a lot, but it's not. I did scroll through it. It's
I think they're bringing it to Game Pass. I think that's what this is all prepped for.
Could be.
I really
Could
do.
be.
Maybe.
It was nice to see. Yeah, for sure.
I feel like every time they patch it, there's hope, and I'm just not gonna go try and kick that football.
Nah, you're right.
Everybody wants to go kick the football. Go try and kick the football. You do you.
I did play recently. I don't know if it was this past week or the week before. I did log in and log 3 games. Quick match, still quick. Still people
still
playing.
A speedy experience.
So
that's good.
Maybe there's a couple guys that have love for Heroes inside the company that make sure they're like, hey, listen, I know we're working on whatever game that's about to be canceled in 6 months, but can I have 2 days to like fix some bugs that have, in Heroes? And they're like, yeah, sure, buddy, go ahead.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I'm like John. I keep wanting to kick that football, but I also just want them to just say something like, "What's your plan?"
They did. They said it's on the shelf.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago. That was pre-purchase
mode. This is maintenance.
But
but it's time to stop every time they do a patch. Maintaining the game that is in maintenance mode going, what if they put Lilith in the game? Shut up.
Well, I don't think they're going to do that.
They're not doing anything.
They're not going to do that.
Back.
But they could put it free to play on Steam and have a boost to the thing, and then maybe they'd have options. That's all I'm saying. I think that there's money on the table. I would love to be
pleasantly surprised. I'm done getting hopeful.
So I watched. There was a funny interaction that Tasteless, who's still broadcasting GSL in Korea.
Yeah.
I was watching a VOD, and he's with this other guy. Artosis is doing StarCraft 1, not 2, so he's with this other guy, State. And they were talking about this map that the match was being played on, and Tasteless was like, yeah, this map, it kind of reminds me of, that pirate map from Heroes of the Storm. What's the name of that map? And the other guy's just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Oh,
Like
That makes
Heroes
me
of the
sad.
Storm. I get,
so sad.
and it's like, no, it's that Blizzard MOBA. And he's like, oh yeah, like I never played that and don't know what that is. It was just like, and he was like, oh, Heroes pretty good. No, he's like, no, nothing. I got nothing for you. Like that's how much impact Heroes has in the world. It's like,
Yeah,
it's like,
bums me
it's
out.
never
man.
coming
Although
back. It's
I will
done.
say this, and this made me so happy. Not too long ago, my wife took a business trip. She had to take a flight over to Texas, and she wore my Heroes of the Storm hoodie. And while she was at the airport, someone stopped her and went, "That a hoodie for Heroes of the Storm?" And she was like, "Yeah." They were like, "Awesome." And then they went on. So, on the other
Those who
side,
know.
there are some people who know it's like a weird, like,
Yeah.
we don't talk about Heroes of the Storm cult of people out there, and it's fine. Like, I love Heroes of the Storm. I have no regrets for that time, but like, there is a part of me that every time someone's like, just delicious leavings getting dropped on the floor, and it's like, guys, Blizzard is just pushing the food off the table and you're licking it off the floor and getting excited about it. And it's fine to like that game and it's fine to think it's good, but let's stop pretending it's something it isn't.
Yeah, like a growing concern for Blizzard. It's not. I just want it to be. I want to have hope. That's all.
Me too.
All right. Well, that's it for games. We're going to take a break. When we come back from the break, we're going to pick a topic for Dear Martha and let her have at it. Well, I guess the husband of Dear Martha have at it. And that'll be fun. But we'll also got a little bit of news we'll talk about as well. So get ready to tip your favorite developer because Mike Ybarra is going to get drugged real hard today. We'll do all that in a minute. Come on back. Freaking hate that. All right. I'm
looking forward to this.
Let's take back what was ours, which is this episode. Here we go. And we're back, everybody. It's time for some Dear Martha. Now, I've been thinking about this because you don't have a topic yet, right?
Nope.
Okay. I was thinking it'd be fun to do a topic regarding your hatred of Fallout 4. Somehow you're stuck there and you're riding home to Martha to tell the tale of the problem of the world you're in, of why it sucks. All right. Because I feel like I'm going to get more accurate information about what's wrong with Fallout 4 in your mind through this than I would by just asking you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's as simple as just, the story's not as good or whatever. I think there's more going on.
It is, but we'll get there.
So let's try it. Here we go. I'm going to kick it in and do a thing. Hold on. Here we go.
My dearest Martha, I need to talk to you about Fallout 4. Now, obviously, this letter will contain spoilers. I don't know why I need to tell you that in a personal letter. Obviously, we're married. I know your personal taste to spoilers or not. But just in case someone else maybe hears this, spoiler warning for the plot of Fallout 4. Martha, what happened to this place? This game used to be about making a customizable character that I could really invent a story around and build a narrative towards and create my own place out in the wasteland. Instead, I am a male or female that's married to the opposite sex and has a child. That child's definitely named Sean. That child's definitely getting abducted.
Yeah.
And that child, even before I knew this was a spoiler, turned out to be the big bad guy of the story, Martha. What a mind-blowing revelation that was. Martha, what are we doing? There was a time where I didn't have to go around pretending like I was cosplaying as a Steel Brotherhood member or a raider or a ghoul. Now I just have to be a domesticated dunce looking for my stupid baby that can't figure out that a lot of time has passed and my baby's now an old man that's evil. But thank God we told that story, Martha, because nobody else was willing to do the work. Goals in this life and the next. Deadbeat Dad 76.
Oh, I see what you did there with the 76. That was pretty good.
I couldn't remember the vault for.
Oh, it's 111 for 4, right? 111, I think.
I don't remember.
I have it written here. Yeah, 111. He's got a 111 on his back. Oh, by the way, 76 has a bunch of free shit from the show. And one of them is that big giant golf bag looking thing that
the Squires run
around with, which is already a wonderful reference to inventory in the game. I love that they even did it. But that exact bag you can now have in your camp and doesn't actually hold anything, which is funny. But that's there. You got Vault 33 suit you can get. I forget some other. There's other stuff in there. That's the other nice thing about a game like that, where it's sort of live servicey, is they get to riff right on the show. But
for the record, I never have liked. This was even before I was a dad. I've never liked the trope of "and my child was taken." Just never been a story convention that I have enjoyed.
You think it just feels cheap, like
Angel, Sons of Anarchy, like this one, like it just happens a lot where it's like, you had a baby, it's the best moment of your life, and somebody took him away, and now it's gonna be years later, and he's gonna be an adult. It's like stories want to tell a story that has a baby in it, and then all of them realize, oh shit, we're going to have a baby in this story.
Yeah.
What do? I know. Let's teleport him to the future so we don't have to have a baby in the story. Like X-Men, it happens all the time. Every time a show adds a baby or a thing adds a baby, they're like, well, we can't keep track of this stupid baby. Babies are a lot of work. We got to figure this out. I know, teleport it to the future, or have it get abducted, or have it fall in radiation and evolve quickly. Like, it's just dumb. I hate it so much. And then, like,
too tropey, too easy.
I knew the second that the baby got taken and you got refrozen, I was like, so what? The baby's going to be old and a dick now? And that's exactly what it was.
All right, I can't. This is hard to argue with because you're not wrong. I just was fine with the trope. It's fine. It's all the side stuff was great. There was some really good, secondary story stuff.
Yeah, there's some okay stuff in there. It just, to me, it never captured me the same way.
Oh my Lord! All right. Well, there you have it. Well done as always. Let's do this right now. We're going to talk about some other news that broke. PS5 Pro leaked specs happened, and everybody was a little unsure if it was real. But then Sony demanded a pull down, and that usually helps confirm that it was probably real.
Way to go, Sony. Way to confirm the rumors.
Yep.
They Streisand affected it.
They did, basically. And they also were, there's also a bunch of memos from Sony that are confirmed going around to developers saying, we want you to focus more on ray tracing with this fall's releases, which is all tied up with this whole Pro thing. So anyway, turns out though, like by the numbers, this is kind of a massive leap. This thing is 45% more rendering power than the previous model. A whole bunch of specs, top to bottom, big changes. Kind of a big leap compared to what the PS4 Pro was. I said this on DTNS. I'll reiterate it here in shorter terms, but this means kind of nothing, though, in a market where you cannot piss off your existing customer base too much. And also you want to excite new people that maybe didn't buy one yet that, hey, there's even a better model available now. So now you really should buy the PlayStation 5. I don't think that this monumental leap forward in 8K upscaling and their version of DLSS and all this stuff that's coming with these specs, that stuff's all great. But if you make it so much better than the base model, you're risking a big PR problem. And so I don't, just like with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, I think that the same thing will happen here, where it will have these improved specs, but nobody's got the guts to make their games look that much better on one versus the other, because now you've really divided your player base, and that sucks. So
I think Open BEAU in the chat has the one, I would be in a 100% agreement with you, but I think this is the one little fly in the ointment that might turn this around for them. Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be one of the biggest video games of all time.
Yeah.
Like, it already is. Like, the trailer for it is one of the most watched YouTube videos in the history of YouTube. Like, the interest and excitement around this game, if the game is good, is insane. And I like, honestly, even if the game is mid, like, it's still probably going to sell a bajillion copies.
No doubt.
And I do think, because I believe, I'm trying to remember articles and how official this is, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I remember them saying that even on upgraded hardware, Grand Theft Auto 6 is not going to be running
At its potential.
Optimized.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I think there are going to be a lot of people out there that say, well, I got to get this game and I want it to look the absolute best that it can possibly look. And I'm willing to buy an upgraded console to do it.
Yeah, that's possible. I hadn't really thought of that. That's a factor here, but it really will be a moment of like, how do you want to separate? How do you want to divide your player base?
Yeah,
because the effect.
I mean, I don't think it's a good decision for the record, but it is a case of where I would normally just say I 100% agree with you. I think it's a misstep. I don't think it's going to do that great for them. I do think Grand Theft Auto 6 might be the thing that shifts that around a little bit and might be able to shift that in their favor to be able to say, look, we have a console. It's going to look best on this console. You know, like I think that's a big boast to be able to claim, because I'm not going to lie. If Grand Theft Auto 6 looks amazing and plays amazing and reviews amazing, I'm going to be sitting there going, how much? I'm going to have an uncomfortable conversation with my wife and go, look, I know we have debt, but
what if we had a little more? What
if I needed a better graphics card? And so I understand where the thought is for that, right? Like, I want it to be a thing, and I think there's a lot of people out there that are going to feel the same way.
Yeah, and you wouldn't say, we probably wouldn't even be caring if the PC was day and date, and it's not. They're going console first. We don't have a PC date for GTA 6. So a lot of people who really want to get in early are going to want to get it on console.
And they're going to want to get the best version.
Yeah.
And if Sony says the best version is to buy this upgrade of the PS5, play it here, it will look better than the Xbox, and otherwise you're having to wait, I think a lot of people go, all right, well, I'll buy that PlayStation.
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see, but I think you're probably on the right. I think there's something to that. If it wasn't for that title, I'd only think this would be a thing, you know, which is crazy how much power they have. GTA is it's a beast. Like, what started out as one of the shittiest playing games on PlayStation. It wasn't that great. I don't mean 3. I'm talking about OG GTA.
Yeah, top down.
It wasn't great. I played it recently. It didn't hold up. It's kind of bad. They obviously turned that into something very special and reinvented, or maybe even invented, what a modern sandboxy open world game even is. And they still dominate it in a way that is unheard of. Like the sales of that thing, it's still, it's top 10 sales every month. I don't know, man. You're probably right. That will make a big difference. Maybe Microsoft, maybe this will be a loss for them, because I don't think either company benefited much from the mid-season bump that was the Pro and the X, but maybe they would with this. So I don't know. We'll see. PlayStation, speaking of which, PlayStation Overlay is now the thing in your PC games. It will start with Ghost of Tsushima, which is coming to PC, the collector's or the Ultimate Edition, or whatever the hell it's called. There is an overlay now. I don't know how that overlay is on top of the Steam overlay. I got questions about that. Maybe it won't matter. Obviously, it doesn't have to be the same keys, but it will let you earn trophies in PC games and do other stuff like talk to your friends and all the things you do with like your console overlay. So what that tells me is Sony is more than ever serious about PlayStation ports and doing more PlayStation shit on those ports. So watch for that. More Fallout news. Todd Howard says regarding Fallout 5, which everyone is begging for now because we're all hyped. He says, I'm going to avoid putting dates on anything. That's my impression of him.
I guess nailed it.
It's pretty good, right?
I'm sure Todd is flattered too,
Yeah.
because not only did you nail it, but it was a flattering impression on top of it.
Yeah, they don't want to put a date. Of course, they're working on it, but they're not even close to. If they were smart, they'd be close.
He's got to be so annoyed because before, it's been just like this series of like, hey, Todd, when's Starfield coming out? Is it going to be good? When's Starfield coming out? Then Starfield comes out. It's crap. When's the next Elder Scrolls game coming out, Todd? When are you going to give us Elder Scrolls? And he's like, all right, we're working on it. And then all of a sudden the Fallout show comes out and it's like, where's Fallout, Todd?
Hey, Todd. And right now, Fallout 4 is the #1 selling video game in Europe, period. And it's like in the top 4 here. Like, he must, I mean, it's probably like, oh, well, yeah, of course it is because it's great and whatever. But part of him is like dying inside, you know? And I like Starfield, but part of what I like about Starfield is it feels a little like Fallout in space. If I'm honest, which I have tried to be, I was the biggest proponent of that game while we were in the hype bubble of it. But I will be honest and say the reason I like Starfield is because I feel like I'm playing Fallout in space a little bit.
I just feel like they're going to be like, Todd, we got to do something. People are asking about a new game already because they've already forgotten about the last one we did.
Yeah.
Because apparently they did too, because they still haven't updated that thing. But they're going to put out a trailer for Elder Scrolls 6, and the first comment's going to be, when's Fallout 5, Todd?
Yeah.
It's just going to be like, oh, I cannot win. I can't win with these people.
The cadence is usually a Elder Scrolls game, Fallout game, Elder Scrolls game, Fallout, like that, right? I'm not sure that's true this time. Like maybe they'll shift gears internally and go, well, we're this far along with Fallout 5 and we're this far along with Elder Scrolls 6, and maybe we just switch that around and focus on Fallout. I'm way more interested in a Fallout game, a newer Fallout game, than I am a newer Elder Scrolls game. So
I am too. Now that said, I will play a new Elder Scrolls game.
Of course.
I'm not going to poo-poo that idea, but I'm far more interested in a new Fallout. And yeah, there's recency bias. I just watched the TV show. Like all I want to do is run around in that world. But
yeah,
right now, that's what I want.
It'll wear off, but right now I'm feeling the same thing. What else? Oh, Bo, you got to talk about this because you watched it. The Hades 2 technical test stream. That looked great.
Speaking of something exciting, Hades 2 turns out looking pretty good.
Yeah.
it was unexpected, kind of just crept up, and I signed up for that early access to the technical test. Still haven't got my email, but yeah, they showed off like the first act of the game, pretty much like going through. There was like 5 runs that the guy did, and it looks, the good news is it looks every bit as much like the original game, except new characters and new gods.
Nice graphics too. Like just an update, a little bit of a bump. I feel like there's a lot more fauna and flora going on, and
artwork stellar. The music's back, like the same. Was it his name Korb? I can't remember his first name. Brendan Korb, I want to say. Can't remember, but the guy who did the original soundtrack is back doing this.
He's amazing.
I just love the touch of that. Like when you're in downtime, like they have dynamic track where instruments just sort of fade out, and it's just the bass going.
Yeah.
And there's witchcraft. She's more of a ranged character, it looks like. But if it's anything like the first one, you'll probably have different weapons. So I'm excited. There's just lots to uncover. You almost don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, I didn't watch it for that exact reason.
Yeah.
And even now, Scott's got gameplay up, and I'm like, look at it, look away, look at it,
look away, look
like,
at it, look away.
I'm so compelled, but I feel like I had such an idealized like version of Hades because I'm such a fan of their games that I pre-ordered or bought it early, got early access. I played it a little bit and went, okay, I kind of see what they're doing here. This seems like this could be an okay game. Forgot it existed until it was almost time for the game to come out. Played it when the game launched, and then got one of my favorite video games ever made out of the deal.
Yeah.
And I kind of just want that again. Like I hate waiting, like knowing it's going to be coming out and playable in some fashion soon. There's a part of me that's like, but I can't wait. but I think I will for this because I liked that game so much, playing it in its complete form, knowing that it's a game that's probably going to be, you know, ideally played over and over again. I don't want to burn myself out on an act before there's too much there, because I just love Hades so much.
I picked it up on Epic, I guess, early access, and I regret it because I played so much of it. It's a little bit. Remember our Overwatch experience early on? We played so much beta or whatever it was. Was it beta? I guess it was. Yeah. When it finally came out and they wiped everything, it was just like, oh, I don't know if I can. It's not that I didn't like it. It's just I'd played so much of it already that some of that magic missed me, and it's not because it wasn't great. So in this case, I'm ignoring this shit until it's out. I'm with John. Let's do it.
Yeah, I got a lot of
just
faith
checking my
they'll
emails
figure
and
it
see
out.
if I got in or not. Not yet. Gosh dang it.
Bo, if you get in, you're gonna have to report. You're gonna be our guy on the
I
stream.
mean, I have 200 hours
Guy
in
on
the
the
first
sky.
one.
Yeah.
I'm not that worried that I'm gonna get sick of it. Honestly, like it's.
No, it's right up your
I'm
alley.
like, yeah, it's definitely like this game is aces, but it's same. I had the same experience. It snuck up on me. I had it in early access, but barely played it, and then it was like, oh my god, it's incredible.
Other thing I'm excited about is it got announced that SteamWorld Heist 2 is underway and it will be here before the end of the year. I loved
Hooray.
SteamWorld Heist. It's one of my favorite turn-based tactics games. I don't know why it's so good. I just love it. I still pick it up and play it here and there. And it comes out this August. So get stoked, everybody. The best game maybe in that universe. I love Dig 2 a lot, but this is close. This is probably my favorite. I loved Heist. So Heist 2 on its way. Star Trek Lower Decks is making a animated Golden Axe show, and it's coming to Comedy Central. So I assume it'll be funny. One would hope.
Yeah, you'd hope.
I like Lower Decks a lot, and I also think it's a funny one to pick. Golden Axe of all things. So I kind of want. I'm looking forward to this, even though it's one of the weirdest things I've heard announced recently.
One hopes that they have a fond memory, like they played it a lot as a kid. They really want to do something with the IP because it is very weird.
It's really weird, right? It's a weird pick, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it was up for cheap, you know.
Yeah, Sega's like, sure. Plus, they've got
anyone want to do a Golden Axe TV show?
Yeah. I mean, the dwarf could be funny as hell. Like, I can see them having fun with it. So we'll see what they do. And that show's ending, Lower Decks, so that team will have this to work on now. Also, Blizzard is so sick of your effing shit and will no longer tolerate cursing in Overwatch 2. So
this was a bit of a surprise. I don't know the validity to this bit. I tried to find it and I couldn't, but I heard that there was a collegiate athlete who got banned because he said the word fuck. He said the word shit.
Yeah.
2 words I just repeated here.
Yeah.
And they banned his account, and it has made it to where he can't compete, and that's what he was on a college tuition for. But
yeah, so he can't compete in the finals, is what I heard. Like he's, as a result of his account getting banned, he won't be able to play in some finals or something like that.
So a lot of people have pointed out some hypocrisy with this rule because Blizzard is doubling down. They're like, it's against our terms of service. So what are you going to do? And people are like, you have a cowboy character that has BAMF written on his belt buckle.
Yeah.
They also have a profanity filter that is by default turned on in your video game. So that means if somebody saw those words typed, they went into the options and opted to be able to see it.
Yeah. There's a bunch of problems with it.
Also, it's a lot of hypocrisy.
Do you know who the most sweary people I've ever met in my life in any professional setting? Blizzard employees. Totally fine. I don't care, but they F-bomb like sailors, all of them, constantly. Internally, externally. It's like
most adults do, right?
Yeah, but also I see it all the time in the game. I have my profanity filter turned off because I just don't like censorship. But when I was playing Overwatch, people are dropping F-bombs constantly. So
Problem's not the F-bombs, it's...
I'm annoyed. I don't even drop the F-bomb that much, maybe
I
ever.
mean, there is things that are bannable offenses that are problems in the context, right? It's not the F-bomb or saying shit.
I'd be mad if I was this
guy.
A
little bit. I mean, they didn't show this guy his logs. There's a little part of me that's always like, sometimes these guys like dig themselves their own grave, like they did do something bad, but
there's more to it.
Whatever reason, they're just saying a dumb reason, so there's like a miscommunication because it's getting attention from the public or something like that.
Yeah,
you know, there's a whole, I don't know if it was a subreddit, but there's a whole, I think Riot used to do this. They used to like publicly post people who would be like, "Why'd you ban my account? I'm the best," and they just post the chat logs in the forums.
Oh,
and it was
Blizzard did used to do that too. There was a time when they would do it. Yeah.
So like,
great.
I guess they don't post the logs anymore, but there was an era where you'd grab your popcorn and read Reddit threads like for fun to watch all these people like, "Why'd you ban me? All I said was the F word," and it was like being super like racist or something like that. So there's a little part of me that's like, we've been down this road many times, and I'm not sure this is the whole story.
Yeah.
So there's that too.
Yeah,
it's a factor here.
Yeah, I'd like to see the chat logs. Maybe Blizzard just is like, well, we don't care. We're not showing them to you. He broke our terms, whatever.
It's between him, Blizzard, and God at this point. But assuming that's the case, then that sucks.
Yeah,
clearly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Finally, Blizzard news, the thing I alluded to earlier, and I was just annoyed by it. Mike Ybarra continues his post-Blizzard farming losses tour by suggesting tipping for video games. He likes the idea of throwing $20-$30 to a developer and letting them know you love their game. And
oh my God,
the context of that is weird because the context was about how much he loves tipping culture, and it turned into this whole thing. And I hate tipping culture. Pay people a freaking living wage, dude. Pay your developers what they deserve.
Well, they were striking under his watch, right? For not being paid enough. And his idea is like, I wish consumers could just give them money so the company didn't have to.
I hate it.
And the other thing is, the jobs that have traditional tipping usually pay less. The whole point of tipping, before everyone started putting tipping, right, is waiters don't get an hourly wage that high. Bartenders don't. Delivery guys don't. You give them a bit of gratuity.
Right.
But as soon as you give game developers tips, the people that run the company are going like, you don't need to have that big of a salary. You get all this gratuity money. We're going to lower your salary here. It's bad all around.
Just
like
horrible tone deaf.
Ran the company.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. I used to think, oh yeah, this is Bar, you guys. Seems like he seems okay.
Nice. But
I don't know. He seems clueless to me. Like, and it's not the first time he said something stupid on his exit.
Promoted to your level of incompetence, and that's usually like if you're a useful person, you don't get promoted.
It's really,
really useful.
Well, and again, it's a fine sentiment to go like, hey, we should appreciate people better, and like at its like very stripped down, and you ignore the source of it. I don't think that there's anything wrong with going, man, they made a good game. I feel like supporters packs. We see these for like Deep Rock Galactic, right? Where here's a little DLC. We know it's nothing super fancy. We're going to call it what it is. This is a way to say, I like your game. I'm going to throw a little more money at you guys. We're going to give you a little something back. But it's really just about like, it's essentially a tip, right? Like you're purchasing something, but they call it a tip without tipping.
Right.
I don't mind that concept in and of itself, but it's the fact that it's coming from Mike Ybarra, the guy who was in charge of Blizzard, a company notoriously known for underpaying employees because of quote unquote Blizzard prestige, saying like, man, wouldn't it be great if you all paid our employees and not me? Like, that's where it comes across. It's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre.
It just strikes me like, I think Bo's right. He's probably a nice enough guy. I just think he's clueless as to when he says this stuff, what it means.
It explains fully why he's not currently still CEO. Yeah. Just like it pretty much. Yeah. You're wondering why. Like, why did they let him go? He's just started. That this would be his ideas landed with a thud.
Yep.
And yeah.
Take that, Ybarra. May you find a easier to spell last name. All right, let's move on to. He sounds like a place I get pizza in the mall, doesn't he?
Yeah, Ybarra's.
Yeah, Ybarra.
He sounds like a baseball player to me.
Bo would get it and put it in a bush and eat from it.
Yeah, you would eat a Ybarra pizza slice in a bush and not like
get your own Ybarra. This one's
while eating or drinking lemon pie Gatorade.
Lemon pie Gatorade is delicious. I haven't had it in years.
Sounds horrifying, but what do I know?
No, that's just what he calls yellow Gatorade.
Oh, that's right.
He drank it and is like, this is like a lemon pie.
That's right. That was amazing. Kim and I almost sent you like a 12-pack. Did I ever tell you that? We didn't do it because Canadian Customs was weird about it. Food items, so we didn't do it, but we almost sent you a huge thing of that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in years.
You should take it. If you ever get a colonoscopy, that's usually what they have you drink, and then you'll never want it again because you have to drink it with laxatives and stuff the night before.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Then you'll change your tune. You'll be like,
what you're saying is too much of a good thing will make you not like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hate it because of that. I did one and I hated it, and I liked it before that. It was good. Now I'm like, ugh.
I wish I could hate chocolate.
Well, don't hate chocolate. Love, instead, send that hate towards love and love the text we're about to read.
That's a good question.
Here's one from an anonymous person who says, hey, Core Crew, I was curious if you guys looked into a game called Hollywood Arrival. It reminds me a little bit of the Movies game developed by Fable devs.
Wait. Stop.
Yeah.
Please stop.
Yeah, go ahead.
Will you read that first sentence
Yeah,
again?
did I say that wrong? Hey, Core Crew, I was curious if you guys looked into a game called Hollywood Animal.
There you go.
Did I say Arrival?
Yeah, he said Hollywood Arrival.
Shit. It's a good movie. Anyway, it reminded me a lot of the Movies game. Sorry, the Movies game. Now I'm questioning everything I'm reading. Developed by the Fable News, Lionhead Studios, but or devs, I think is the word, not news. But a lot more Illuminati/darker tone. Just wanted to know your thoughts. Keep up the good work. And I looked at this. This looks pretty neat. It's basically kind of a stick it to everybody tycoon game where you run a bit of a backstabby kind of Hollywood company. And you try to dominate the industry, and you've got studios, and you're buying, you're taking actors away from other projects because you offer them more money or whatever. You just kind of screw everybody. Corporateness, all that stuff. It seems like it could be interesting.
Really like the art style to this.
Oh yeah, the art's awesome.
And
love it.
For those that are curious, because this is a game that very much suffers from we smeared yellow all over it. This is a game where that works. Yeah. This is an art style and aesthetic where that 100% works and works to its credit. So I don't know, for anybody that's ever curious, like, well, John just doesn't like any game with yellow on it. No, this fits the art style.
This
and
is
aesthetic
sepia.
in a good
It's
way.
a sepia filter, right?
Yeah,
like almost. Yeah, it's almost full on sepia,
which is kind of old, old Hollywood sepia tone. Sure.
Yeah, so it's a tycoon game, basically, of a Hollywood.
Yep. Not out yet. Currently coming. Planned release date 2024. No actual date. So wish list it if it's. I did because it seems interesting. And
there's a Wilfred Schwartz in it. So
you know that do you know the? Do you have any of those in your family?
No,
no
relation.
Uncle Wilford, always screwing people over.
I just like the name Wilfred.
Yeah. Maybe they're trying to be like Wilford Brimley. I don't know. Anyway, that's the thing. Go check it out. And thank you for that. We also got a clarification about eggs and apples. Remember, we were confused. We're like, wait a minute. When did we bring up eggs and apples? Well, we had a detective on the case. Here's what we heard. Hey, Scott, just wanted to clear up the eggs and apples pre-show mystery. It was Core 409, and it starts about 37 minutes and 50 seconds in. You guys are discussing the, quote, I'm partial to cocaine, quote. That Bo really liked that one from
I like cocaine because
Poor Things.
I'm partial to cocaine.
Yeah, it was the Poor Things thing. Mm-hmm. He says, then started riffing on what DEA stands for. You came up with the Department of Eggs and Apples. Bo did, in particular.
I have no memory of that.
Or maybe I did. I don't know. Says, I have no idea why I latched
Wait a
onto
minute.
it.
You don't know? You said it with such certainty. You're like, and Bo said that.
Well,
maybe he didn't, though.
Let's do this. I can actually pull it up. Yeah, I can pull it up. Go to that timestamp. Let's see, Core Archive. This would have been when 409. So that would have been that day. Here we go. All right.
Body blow.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Well, hello.
I'm going in how many minutes? 37:50.
37 minutes 50 seconds.
All right, here we go. 37. Oh, it's jumping all over the place. Okay, here we go. 37. Jeez,
only part of that sounded like our show was John saying, well, hello.
And we mustn't keep them.
Oh, no, that's the start of the show. How can that be?
Well, Well, this was in the pre-show.
Yeah, he says it starts at 37.50. That's where the show starts after pre-show.
So is it 37.50 with pre-show or 37.50 show or combined?
Maybe it's the pre-show file that they have or something.
Well, it's all one file. It's all one file now. So if you're a patron, you get pre-show, and then immediately we go into the main show.
Maybe it's in the Twitch VOD or something. Maybe it's a Twitch VOD.
Oh, maybe. All right, it's hard to find, but it was either me or Bo. That's what we know.
Core never changes.
Core never
definitely
changes.
not me. I didn't make that joke.
Why didn't I do Core never changes for the title? I might have to change
Core
it.
Never changes.
It's really good.
I've been waiting 3 hours to make that joke to find an appropriate situation.
Well, he says, I have no idea why I latched onto it, but you have, but you have a 1 second quote saying eggs and apples sound like a gross combo at 38:09. Oh, that's a different time. 38:09. No, that's also deeper into it. Anyway.
I like how this guy went out of his way to give us the timestamps.
Yeah, he even
And it
says,
still didn't help.
yeah, we still don't know. I still don't know.
Genuinely that hopeless.
The time is weird. The timing on it is weird. I don't get it. Anyway, but I appreciate the fact that we now know that one of us said it and it happened here on the show.
Yeah, so I guess as a future note to people who want to send in timestamps.
Yeah.
Timestamps, not time stamps. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
If you're sending in timestamps, also reference the source, please. Because apparently we have a variety of recordings of the same thing.
Yeah, we have video.
And,
we have the raw video, which is now hidden for everybody except for patrons. We have the pre-show on the Patreon version of the audio file is tacked onto the front of the thing, and then the public one does not have that. Just starts with the start of the show. So I don't know where he found it.
Yeah.
I split this thing up into a lot of weird pieces at the end of the show. I don't talk about it.
That's you're showing people how the sausage gets made. You gotta cut it up,
That's right.
Put it in a pot, and fry it.
That's exactly how you make it.
So
That's exactly right.
yeah, just to people, he went the extra mile to include timestamps to try and get us to where we need to be to listen to it, and we need to know which video you're talking about.
Or just say who said what.
Yeah, how about that?
Because really, that's all we want to know.
Well,
is
I would have
who's
liked
the
to have heard it, 'cause
person
I
who
don't
made the
remember any of
joke,
this.
And
It
who's
would
the
be-
person, who's the filthy liar on this show?
Yeah.
Who
I
said
wouldn't
that it sounded
believe-
like a gross combo?
Right.
I wouldn't believe half the things people say I said if it weren't for Jamie. Okay, like it's a problem that he's not cutting as many, mashups these days because it keeps me humble having confirmation of the stupid things I say. So
Well, I talked to him today, by the way, and he
how's it
said
going?
he's got some stuff in the works. So stuff coming.
oh,
Watch
beautiful
for it.
bastard. Let's go.
He's just been busy. All right. Well, that's it for your texts. And if you want to send us your own, you can. 801-471-0462 is the number to use. You can also leave us voicemails there. And if you'd rather email us, that's fine. You just use talktothecore@gmail.com. I'd like to mention some new patrons this week. We got 4 new people. Seb, Drug Monkey. Oh, boy. Jesse Frizzell, and Chris Ross. All 4 of these people. But Drug Monkey, I'm a little worried about you. Sounds like something you'd go to like Central America to bring your cocaine up in a drug monkey,
Yeah.
That's what I'd do.
Is this a smuggling technique? The drug monkey?
It sounds right to me. For some reason,
I mean, they call some of them mules, so calling a mule an animal is not unheard of, right?
Yeah, but if you're a drug mule, like a person who gets called a drug mule because you got a condom full of cocaine in your butt on the flight home, that I get. But if it was like a little actual monkey, like a little monkey.
Well, 'cause I think the animal is the characteristic of how it's transported. A mule quietly. Think about an actual mule. You put packs on it. It quietly goes where you want it to go, which is how you want to drugs. But if you're a drug monkey, you probably got the cocaine in your hands going right at the border and running across. And trying that tactic out, like that's a drug monkey.
This is a really good point. You don't want to trust a monkey with your condom full of drugs.
They probably don't use drug monkeys very much, except I don't know. I mean, Canada.
Well, good news. We use one.
Stuff's legal here.
We use one to help the show stay on the air. His name is Drug Monkey, and he's awesome. He knows now the benefit of having no commercials or ads. He gets pre-show content every week. We just proved that. And also monthly benefits like art in the mail. I just sent out, this next one will be a Fallout computer terminal. You know the ones you always got to hack and stuff?
Yeah.
I drew that the other day. Here, I'll show you guys, give you a little preview. It's on my iPad here, but here's the item.
Oh, sick. That looks awesome.
I'm ready to guess various words of a similar nature.
Exactly.
You're really good at drawing shit, man.
These are fun. You know what I do though? I go like 2 weeks with no ideas, and then I get all inspired because I watch the show, and then I go draw the first thing on everyone's mind. Is it a vault dweller? No. Is it a mutant? Something cool like that? Is it Walton Goggins? No. It's the frickin' terminals that you have to hack. Why did I do that?
Although, you've done your Walter White, detailed portrait. I think maybe you need to do a ghoul.
I could do a ghoul. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Walton Goggins ghoul
portrait.
Yeah, you could pick a quote. You could pick the quote about get sidetracked by bullshit, or the one you liked about like a shopping cart.
Yeah, I love that one. There's so many good lines. Bo, keep going through the show. Keep watching it.
All right. I will. Please save your emails until I'm done, and then if I deserve your aggro or whatever, then we'll do that then. We'll do that dance then.
Yeah,
all right?
we'll talk then.
We'll see you in the YouTube comments.
That's right. In the meantime,
that one guy who's like, of course, Bo's a contrarian.
Yeah, he'll always say that. That's his job.
Whenever,
he loves doing that. Patreon.
It turns out we all just don't love the same things. It's okay,
and it's okay. I think it makes for a better show, in my opinion. If we all agreed, how boring is that? That sucks. So John,
you know what? I may just love it. Like I said, it was only one episode. I'm not judging shit based on what I said.
Wasn't there? I vaguely remember there being a day where Bowen had like only a couple hours with Cyberpunk, and he came back and was like, "This isn't it." Mm-hmm. Now it's one of his favorite games.
Something like that, yeah.
I can't remember if it was Cyberpunk or there was something. There's a game you absolutely
I like
love. There was a game that you absolutely love that initially you were like, "Oh, I think it was Baldur's Gate."
Was it?
I think he had a really rough start with Baldur's Gate, because I remember Bo having a discussion about like, I get so sick about you're the chosen one. He's supposed to be this great mage, but he's there at level 1. I don't really like the way the story's going. I vaguely remember this being a conversation Bo had, but I don't know. If you remember what game Bo absolutely hated on day 1 and loved on day 2.
Yeah.
It definitely happened. Like, you're not wrong. I definitely do. I'm like, Scott's like default's like, man, this game, it's awesome, it's beautiful. Nobody plays a lot. My default is like everything is not good until it
until it grabs you.
I'm basically saying I'm terrible. I'm like a withholding father or something like that.
Well, I don't think you're terrible. I think that you just have, you're maybe a little more discerning in the early going, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Glass is half full, glass is half empty.
I'm like that right now with No Rest for the Wicked. Might be my game of the year in 2 months. Who knows? But
that's true.
Again, that's the variety that brings our show together. Scott's like, this is a half full glass of water.
Yeah.
Bo's like, this is a half empty glass of water. And I'm like, why the hell are we drinking water? And that's the show.
You know what? You summed it up pretty well. That's not bad.
And made himself look like the cool guy all in one.
No, I'm not the cool guy.
Cool why are we drinking water?
Yeah.
Let's drink some lemon pie gator.
Yeah, baby. I didn't say the address. Patreon.com/core show. That's important. Patreon.com/core show. Now, John will also
10 amps for the phone.
That's right.
10 amps.
John is also the guy who changes his voice to remind you all what we played. And I don't want to. Oh, is that a spoiler?
No, there's
That's
an old lady we invite in here at the end of the show. We make her sit around for 8 hours while we record, and then she tells us what was played.
I've given it all away. This is our tricks of the trade. Anyway, sausage getting made. Let's throw it to Grandma. She'll tell us what we played. Grandma, take it away.
If you're curious about what video games the boys talked about this week because you got too distracted at the end, I understand. I'll help you out. Here's what they played. Scott played Fallout 4. He played Fallout 76. He installed Fallout New Vegas. He watched the show Fallout. They talked about Fallout. Odds are, if you heard something this week, it was probably about Fallout. Also, Bo doesn't like it. Get in the comments. Scott also played Final Fantasy XIV a lot. He played it on the Steam Deck.
Yep, sure did.
And he played Buckshot Roulette. That's the game where you shoot yourself in the face, maybe. He played Balatro and Spell Rogue, which John also played. And he played a game called Tome, which I don't remember what it is, but he said
it's from a while back.
I'm saying it now.
It's on sale, Grandma. People should buy it. It's a fantastic little thing that's overwhelmingly positively reviewed and should not be missed. That's all. I just go back in the archives, everyone. I talked about it at length.
The game Scott talked about over my segment was Tome. John played for the second week in a row NeiR Replicant version 1.22474487139 and so on. Bo continued to play Baldur's Gate 3 with his friends. He will be done by the time Baldur's Gate 4 comes out. He also played WoW Season of Discovery and Starcraft 2 Co-op Commanders. Yeah. But the new game he played was No Rest for the Wicked. He didn't like it, but maybe you will. Make up your own mind.
Yeah, no,
don't
maybe.
let us tell you what to think. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Scott later said Hollywood Arrival when he meant Hollywood Animal. You think these are reliable people? No.
Okay, Grandma, you're just here to read the name.
Jeez, Grandma.
Editorialization.
No kidding.
I mean, I appreciate that she worked out a way that if someone's curious about what the text game was, she clarified it.
No, that's fine.
Because so people aren't out there going Hollywood Arrival, you know? Like,
she's old and she's earned it. She's earned it, okay? She's been around a long time.
Straight.
That's right.
She's keep the boys straight.
Exactly right. All right, that's going to do it for us. Go play some games, everybody. We'll see you next week for more core. Bye.
I'd offer you one of these cherry tomatoes, but you got a hole in your neck.
Dude, Bo.